Whenever you're ready,
Wait.
let's go.
What is going on, Chaotix? It is your boy Chaos Made 006 here, and I am joined today by the one and the only Damien Dragon
What's going on?
and 2E5 slash
Hi.
2E5 slash 2E5 vlogs. Go check them all out. But today we are bringing you the preseason of the PDL, actually season 3, and we're so excited to start this new draft league season with you guys. I hope you guys are really excited for it, and I guess that's all I got for the intro.
Good work. Good work.
All right, guys. So, what we're gonna be doing is going over the picks for the season, what the teams are gonna look like, talking a little bit about how each Pokemon fits, and if you saw it last season, it's basically the same thing as that, except we're gonna try to do it in one go, and it's gonna be pretty fast. So, our order for this draft order, we have actually 6 coaches this season. So first is going to be myself and what is my team again? Virginia Cavaliers. Since I was the champion of last season, I get to take the first pick. That's how it always works. Second is going to be 2E5 and his Derby Dawn fans. Said it right this time. Then we
I'm
have
proud
a
of you.
really cool newcomer. I forget his name on Discord is Ender Mewtwo. So he is coaching the Southampton Sogalios. Next we have who is next? I believe it's Clinically Insane and the Rhode Island Radicates. We're bringing back an old friend from last season in Super Mew 9001 and his New York Mets. And finally, we're closing out this new league with Soul of Cthulhu hosting the Scarlet Strikers. So that is the teams. That is the order. And guys, anything you want to say before we get into this?
My pick for the winner of the season is the Derby Dawn fans.
Okay. Damien, anything from you?
Yeah, I can already tell this is going to be headache.
Oh dear.
No.
All right, guys. Let's get into this. So the first overall pick in the draft, of course, it's really funny because the mascot of this league is Garchomp, and I just happened to pick Garchomp. So my pick, I'll explain what I thought here. I really wanted to use Garchomp for a long time. It's been used in the past couple seasons. It's a really good offensive mon, also really fast. Got good stats, of course. It's a pseudo-legendary. It is 4 times weak to ice, but that is okay when I can outspeed things and stuff like that. So hopefully Garchomp will be a good member of the team and also a nice physical threat so I can take out my opponents. Damien.
I say this is a pretty good pick, seeing as that it was used to very good success in the past seasons that we've done this. Pseudo legendary, it's very hard hitting, very good on offensive, very good defense, but I don't know. Compared to the other picks, I would suggest that you use this as a backwards pick, my friend.
Ooh.
Interesting. Tui. Thoughts?
I have not admitted to this to you yet, Chaos, but you sniped this right from under my nose.
That's what I wanted. I wanted to get it before someone else could.
I was going to take this pick number 2, so I rated it very highly. I used it in season 1, poorly, admittedly.
I think you
But
made it, didn't you?
I did, I think. I can't remember. It was a long time ago.
I'm sorry, I'm snapping a lot, but
Yeah, you have to say, actually, I disagree with Damien. I think this is a good pick. Simply because it is pseudo legendary, it's a tank. You've just got to be careful about 4 times weakness to ice.
Yep. I guess I just had to
I
prove
wasn't
Damien
taking
wrong
that
throughout
one.
the season.
Oh yeah, that's always
I'm
fun.
not saying it's a bad pick. I'm just saying, compared to the other picks that's going to be coming up very late, that this could also be something that you're going to need to watch out for. You're going to have to watch him more than your other picks.
Yep.
Kind of what I said.
Moving on to the Derby Dawn fans, we have the first overall pick, and I don't know what it is, so I'm going to go ahead. It's Goodra. Okay, so another pseudo-legendary, another dragon type. Actually, I was looking at this mon to pick late in the draft. It's a good pick. It's got good coverage on it, and it's a really cool Pokemon. I really like its ability in Gooey. I think that's a really cool ability. Also gets, of course, Water Absorb, which would be, I think, Water Absorb. Or maybe it's Damp or something like that. But anyways, it's going to be really good for against water types. Again, I mean, it's resisted anyway. So But it's still a really cool mon, and it's really, really great for coverage, and I really wanted it for that aspect of my team. But we'll see how 2E does with it in the Derby Dawn fans. So, Damien, to you.
Good job. I say this is a very good pick, seeing as that it is a dragon, and dragon types do not have so many weaknesses, but to a certain extent, to like someone like Garchomp, this is actually a very good pick overall. That's what I think. Don't go wrong.
I'm flabbergasted that you all approved my pick because I'm not going to lie, this was a panic pick. In typical Chewy fashion, I picked with about 5 minutes left on the clock. I think that I went for type coverage, however, and that's like what I went for. However, I know I could pick this up later in the draft. However, it is an improvement from a Dugong round 1 pick from last year.
Yes, major.
Yes.
All right, so moving on to the first pick from the Southampton Gallios, we have Necrozma. Oh boy, what a fun one. Most of the other Necrozma forms are banned because they're like Uber tier, but this one actually is, I believe, a tier 3 mon. It's really cool. Gotten some nice strategies to go with it. Obviously, Calm Mind Stored Power is one of the things you gotta watch with this thing. You can't let it set up because it just wrecks teams. Really gotta watch out for this one, and I think it's a really good first overall pick.
Necrozma, huh? But yeah, I see like the problem with Necrozma with his other evolutions, but this isn't a bad pick. Thing is with that it covers 2 of the strongest typings, and overall it can damage a lot more people than it would be to take damage from itself. So I would suggest using this as an overall to cover most of your team.
Is it me now? Okay. I think this is a very good pick. Solid first round pick, and I was quite surprised Chaos didn't go for it. This is the Pokemon I had pinned on for Chaos to take with round 1, pick 1. It's a very good Pokemon, can very easily take other Pokemon down. Overall, very good pick.
Yeah, this thing was on my radar, but I just never get the chance to use it. So maybe next season we'll get to pick up Necrozma. Moving on to the next pick. Oh, go ahead.
I did suspect it was on your radar.
It was. So moving on to the first pick for the Rhode Island Raticates, we have Volcarona. Now, I actually used this thing, I believe, last season to a really fun effect against 2E's Infernape, so I love this thing. It's one of my favorite fire types out there. I really like the bug fire typing. Again, 4 times weak to Stealth Rocks. Not a great thing for competitive because you know Stealth Rocks are going to be set. So it's not really good against that. Of course, it is really powerful, but it is so much of a glass cannon. I don't know how effective this thing is going to be, but it has worked out for me in the past seasons, so maybe we could see something really cool from this team.
Volcarona, huh? Its abilities stay for Flame Body. Mm-hmm. It's gonna do very well because a lot of physical attacks. It could have the potential to burn its victim as well, which you won't see on another bug type Pokemon. But all around, it is very susceptible to a lot of other Pokemon on the list that we have. So this is a good choice, but also something you need to watch out for. Exactly like I said for Garchomp.
With this pick, I think this is a very good pick overall because it took good type coverage. However, as you mentioned, Stealth Rock, that's a huge issue for Volcarona. Because as you've alluded to, as Ed mentioned, if you don't set up Stealth Rock, you're not going to win. Unless you just have a bit of luck. So having Volcarona on your team, which is 4 times weak, is a bit of an issue. However, seeing what it has done to previous seasons, not a bad pick.
Yeah, I think one of the keys with using Volcarona is you're going to have really good hazard removers, and I believe he does on his team. So that's something that's really good. Like a really good Rapid Spinner would be really great. And I believe he picked up one later on in the draft. But we're going to move on to the New York Met and their first pick in Mimikyu. This is something that you used last season. Pretty effective.
It wasn't me.
Oh, no, it was 2 used it last season. Sorry. Two used it last season. It's a really cool mon. It essentially gives you one free Swords Dance every time because it has the disguise ability. So, I mean, you literally can sit there and just set up a Swords Dance and then run Shadow Sneak and play rough. You probably got good coverage there, stab coverage. And then you get a fourth slot for whatever else you want to run. Maybe, I don't know what else it gets really, but usually it's just Shadow Sneak, Shadow Claw, and Play Rough. That typically does well. So it's going to be fun to see how this is used on Mew's team this year.
I don't know very much about Mimikyu. Last year I was a little bit, hesitant to add anything to Mimikyu, but seeing how it worked last year during the Showdown event, I can see how broken Mimikyu is. All I gotta say is, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys are one of the coaches, watch out for Mimikyu. Because he can be very dangerous.
I totally agree with you, Damien, there. Mimikyu is so dangerous, so scary, and I'm gutted. It was on my radar, and I'm sure it was on a lot of other coaches' radar. That Play Rough set is very, very, very good. I will admit, it was used poorly last season by some idiot by the name of Mortuary 5. I've never heard of him in my life.
Sorry, I had a cough.
So it can be used well, and I think Mew will be able to bring up the ability in Mimikyu.
So final pick of the first round, we have the Scarlet Strikers and Brian, a.k.a. Oh, no, it's not a.k.a. Or Solo Cthulhu. I got your intro right now. Sorry, buddy. Love you. But we got the Scarlet Strikers picking up Rotom Wash here. This is a really cool pick. I really love the Rotom appliances. They're really good and competitive. They run basically the same set no matter what week you bring them or what you're fighting. Typically, you have the superpower stab move, so like Hydro Pump for this thing. Volt Switch is probably going to come, maybe Pain Split Hex, Will-O-Wisp, stuff like that. You can see it run probably Choice Specs or Choice Scarf, maybe Assault Vest. So this thing can work pretty well, but it is sort of a niche pick, and I'm not sure how well it fits as a first-round pick. I think it could have gone later in the draft, but it's still a really good mon to have, and it gives you a nice water and electric type right off the bat. So that's a good thing to have always.
Looking at its base stats, defense is something that it would excel in, and having that defensive, capability, it's going to be very hard to hit it, but not take so much damage away from it. Ground types are probably not going to do very well against them, even though it is an electric typing. Since he also has the ability of Levitate, which negates most ground type moves. So this is a really good draft pick, but also anything else it's going to be susceptible to. So I would say this is a good pick, but not a very well thought out pick.
I would say with this pick is you have to take into account, although it is probably a first round pick, Soul Cthulhu did have 2 straight back-to-back picks, and to start the second round off and to finish the first round. So, we can say wherever we could have picked up later, I would say he could have picked up in third or even the fourth or even the fifth round of the draft. Is it a first round pick? Probably not. But I think, if I remember correctly, he took it late, and I think it might have very well have been a panic pick. Something obviously I'm very well accustomed to. But overall, I think Rotom is a good Pokemon. You got me with giggles now. Rotom is a good Pokemon. I think Rotom Wash is a good form because it gives it some typing, water type moves. I think that's good. Ground types will be able to do nothing to it. Overall, good Pokemon. Could have picked it up later though.
So as we mentioned, this draft is a snake draft, so that means we start at 1, go to 6, and then we go backwards in the second round, so it goes 6 to 1. So again, Scarlet Strikers get a wheelhouse pick, get this 2 picks in a row, and they pick for their second pick, Snorlax. Now this thing was another thing that was on my radar, something I really wanted. Thick Fat is just so good, and Snorlax has a lot of different sets it can run. Probably most well known for the Belly Drum set, the Sweeper set. You have the Rest Curse Lax that you can run. It's really powerful that way too. It just depends on how you want to run it, what you need, and I know his Z Crystal is going to really benefit this thing. So hopefully this thing is not a major threat, and you got some fighting types to take this Snorlax on.
Snorlax is going to be a major threat, whatever way you look at it. With its multiple abilities, like Thick Fat, and its immunity abilities. Immunity, as we know, that it prevents poisoning. So, and that was used a lot last season. If you guys, there was a lot of people poisoning their opponents, and Snorlax basically negates that. So, this is a mega pick, and right after Wash Rotom, this would be your all-around tech.
With everything that Damon just said about, I think it's absolutely spot on. The poison thing, that was most people's, they use Toxic a hell of a lot. And I think you're absolutely right. Snorlax negates it totally. I think, once again, could Soul of Cthulhu picks it up later? Yes. I think, once again, even maybe in the 7th or 8th round, for me. But I know a lot of people did have it on their radar. I did. Chaos, I know you did. From the comments, I can tell. I think Super Mew 9001 had it on their radar. That's 4 coaches who had their eyes on it.
I think all of us did.
From the sounds of it, it sounds like all of us had an eye on it. So maybe, just wanted to make sure he got it. But overall, very bulky, negates poison. Good pick in my eyes. Just maybe could have picked it up later.
Yeah.
Right, so we move on to the second pick for the New York Met, and they pick Porygon 2. Oh, really good Mon. I really like Porygon 2. It's a lot better than Porygon Z. Eviolite just makes this thing so bulky. It's really good. Normal type, only weak to fighting. Again, really good coverage, a lot on the special side, and downloadability. If you get it on someone with special defense, like a weak special defense, and you get a special attack boost, you're going to really wreck. And this thing really can set up, really take things on. Tri Attack is a really good move as well for this thing, because it can not poison. It can burn, paralyze, or freeze. You got 10% for each of those. It also has a reliable recovery in recover. So it's a really good Mon, and I think it was a good pick. Might have been able to go later on in the draft. It was definitely something I had on my radar just because I like Porygon. But it's good to have Mew use it, and I hope he uses it well. So good luck to you with that.
Porygon 2, I would say it was a good idea to pick him, but also I kind of feel like this was a rushed kind of pick as well. Thing is with that, his abilities like Trace also copies special abilities. So something similar, like, let's say if Porygon 2 would be going up against Snorlax, and that Trace ability is going to come in clutch. But all around, Porygon 2 is not the best Pokemon to go with if you're trying to like last. So I don't know how good this pick was.
I agree with Damien on like he's not sure. I'm not sure. I think this is becoming a theme of what we've said a lot. A lot of Pokemon could have gone about 10 rounds later. I definitely didn't have my eye on this. However, I agree with Chaos' statement about the Eevee. Like, that set is good. Just, could he have had an eye on something else and taken something else like a much stronger? I don't know, but to be fair, Mew has got Mimikyu, a Pokemon that we all know can sweep a team. In fact, I think I took 5 Pokemon out with it last year in one match. So even if I can pull it off, Super Mew can pull it off. So,
you know what's a hard counter into Mimikyu, though?
Well,
Max defense, max HP, Mega Aggron.
I hadn't thought of that.
That's how I beat you last season. You got +6. I took you out.
I had not thought of
that. We're gonna move on here. Let's think who's next. It would be Rhode Island Raticates and Mega Venusaur, guys. So fun fact about the Megas here: when you take a Mega off the board, you also take its regular counterpart. Same thing if you take the regular Pokemon, you also take the Mega counterpart. Forgot to mention that with Garchomp, but since I took Garchomp, Mega Garchomp is gone, and since Rhode Island Raticates took Mega Venusaur, the regular Venusaur is gone. So let me get into the Venusaur now before I finish explaining that. Venusaur works really well. A thick fat ability, again, is phenomenal. Again, you don't have to Mega Evolve on the first turn, which is something to remember in this league. Hopefully some of you forget that, which would be great. But this thing pairs, I think, really well to Volcarona. Really covers it in some aspects. Thick Fat gives you sort of an immunity to fire, I guess. A good water type probably would have been a better shot here. But I can see a good beginnings to a fire, water, grass core. Venusaur is probably one of the best grass types you got out there. So something that is going to be useful and also can really tank a lot of hits. So it's a good. I'd say this is a really good pick.
Well, Chaos, you forgot to mention that not only is it immune to fire, some of the fire attacks and reduce damage, but also reduces ice attacks as well, which is very susceptible to. It's gonna take a lot to take him out, but also you gotta watch him very freaking closely with all the other picks that you could get. So something like Mimikyu could possibly take out Venusaur. So take a good look at him.
With this Venusaur pick, I think personally he's made the correct decision in taking the Grass Mega to cover Volcarona. I think that's a good pick in my eyes. And you know what? I'm not gonna lie, I did have Mega Venusaur as my Mega I wanted. And I would have taken it this round actually. So 2 rounds in a row, Chewy got sniped.
Rip.
I know this happened quite a lot. But actually a very good pick, as you said, talking about fire and ice, it does quite well against, so it's much better than the regular form Venusaur. Good choice.
Alright, moving on, we have the Southampton whatever they are. Southampton Solgalios with Magearna. Oh my gosh, this thing. So I don't even know where to begin. Steel Fairy type, really good typing. Really powerful Mon. I guess it's like mythical, I guess. Maybe. It's really cool though. Soul Heart ability, obviously pretty busted. And it also has stat boosters anyway. So this thing can really just wreck through teams if you let it. Mostly it runs stall though, so that's something else to consider. This thing is a really good Mon, and I think it pairs pretty nicely with Necrozma because they can both be played sort of offensively or defensively, either way you want to. So this really makes this team a harder thing to prep for because you don't know if he's going to bring offensive or defensive versions of these Pokemon, and I think that's really great to have on a team.
Magearna, I don't know very much about Magearna. Something similar to Mimikyu. I haven't seen much of the Generation 7 Pokemon, and I'm just getting used to them. But Magearna, having it attack would do very well, but having it being a defensive Pokemon will also do wonders, seeing as that Necrozma is mostly an attack type Pokemon. You're going to want him to be on the attack most of the time. And Magearna is great for just taking the damage while Necrozma is going at it attack. So this is shaping up to be a really good team.
Don't really have much more to add to that, really. I don't know much about Magearna. I haven't seen him used much, so I don't really know what more I could add.
Alright, then we'll move on to the Derby Fence and Kangaskhan. So, of course, Mega Kangaskhan was not available because it's absolutely busted. But Kangaskhan, I think, is a good pick. I believe it gets scrappy, so that makes it be able to hit Ghost types, which is actually a pretty good counter to normal types as they are. So I think that was pretty good. Pretty good stats overall. Maybe not the best Pokemon. Probably too early to take. I believe it is a lower tier Mon, so it probably would have been able to been picked up later in the draft. But, this is probably one of 2 shotgun picks, so not going to really judge that too far. But Damien, take it away.
Adding on to Scrappy, it also has access to the ability Early Bird as well, which everyone knows last season. Sleeping was also a bad thing to happen to a lot of trainers because a lot of people got put to sleep as well, giving everyone free hits. But Early Bird for Kangaskhan allows him to wake up a lot faster from getting put to sleep than mostly any other Pokemon. And yes, Mega Kangaskhan was very freaking broken, but this all around, its health and attack, this is going to be a very devastating Mon. So tell us how you thought about this, Chewy.
Yeah, I didn't really think this one through, to be honest.
That's going to be most of Jimmy's picks, by the way. I didn't think this through. I just picked it because I liked it. It looks cool. It's good.
Pretty much. But
yeah.
I just ran out of time and went, screw it. You look good. I'll go for you. Anyway, I like Scrappy. We're alright.
To clarify for you, Mew, what I meant by shotgun pick was like it was a pick that he just kind of picked at random. He just kind of just threw it in there. So, just kind
pretty much.
So, all right, for the final pick of the second round, we got the Virginia Escavaliers picking Alolan Ninetales. Alolan Ninetales is by far probably my favorite. No, it's not by far probably my favorite. It's by far my favorite, without a doubt, Alolan form out there. I have sort of grown fond to make Alolan Sandshrew as well, but this thing is just awesome. I think it's really great in competitive, really good on draft teams as well. I've seen it used really well in other draft leagues, and I really wanted to use this. Shout out to my boy Adrian, by the way. He used this thing awesomely. But I think it pairs really well with Garchomp. Again, Ice type was nice to have, but I was really going for my Fairy Dragon Steel Core, so I picked up a nice Fairy type that I thought would be really good in the game. Probably the best I had available at this point in time. As I said, I was looking at Magearna, and this probably would have been a good spot for it to pick in, because it does give me the Steel and Fairy typing. But overall, this was just something I really wanted to use, and I haven't used yet in any draft season, so this is going to be fun for me to try out an Alolan Ninetales in the draft setup.
I have to give a little bit of thought to that one there. Chaos, being as with that, looking at Ninetales' base stats, it fails in mostly every category that needs it to survive, like oncoming attacks. It's great with speed, so dodging is not going to be a problem for Ninetales, but seeing as fit that its best ability would be mostly Snow Warning that creates a hailstorm in the middle of the battle, it's not going to do very well with your other pick, which is Garchomp, which is mainly going to be an attack Pokemon, I'm guessing. So I'm going to have to look at your pick with a little bit of salt, my friend.
Yes, you do. That's okay, though, man.
Hey! I'm trying to look at some stats. I'm just here playing. Leave me alone. I'm helping you.
I'm just joshing you, man.
I'm helping you.
Anyway. We've got the relevant one's opinion here.
Sure. Go ahead.
I need something relevant. I'm going to lose again this shit. Anyway, good pick overall. Good timing of the pick. You've got an Ice type to go with your Dragon type. Overall, very good pick. I like Alolan Ninetales. Very good. Good work, Chaos.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome, bud.
So moving on to round 3, again, I'm up on the board, so I'm going to pick Jirachi to get my Steel type in there. As I said, I wanted a Fairy Dragon Steel Core, and Jirachi was something I've been looking at for a long time now to put on my team. I really like how it has been used in other draft leagues, as well as like Alolan Ninetales that I've mentioned in the past. But I really want to see how this thing works. I think this is probably one of the best Fairy Dragon Steel Cores you can get in the game. Again, not using a whole lot of points here, besides like the 50 for Garchomp. They're both tier 2, so I wasn't like, oh, I need 3 tier 1 Pokemon to like sweep the team, and I'm just gonna pick tier 5s. Nah, I wanted a good balance of tiers, and I wanted a good strong Pokemon. And I think these 3 work really well together. They synergize pretty solidly. Their secondary typings also give a lot to this game, and allowing me to have a lot of different moves and a lot of coverage. So with these 3, I think I have a really solid set to build the rest of my team around, and really give my opponents some competition this season. Damien, go ahead and wrap me out.
Okay. Actually, to be honest, I can't say nothing bad about this. This was a great overall choice. It bounces out for every single stat you could possibly think of. It's great in every category. And with its abilities to increase, it allows more of the secondary, things for like confusion and all that to reoccur more often. So if you use a move Confusion, there's more of a chance that the opponent's Pokemon will be confused. So that's going to do very well. So all I gotta say is great overall choice.
I'm gonna have to disagree for once. It's very rare I'm negative, but I just feel Jirachi is a bit weak at times. I know Chaos probably does have a way. Since it's Chaos, he will know how to use it properly. I'm just a bit like, are you sure this was a good choice?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Yeah, well, move on.
Okay.
I know.
2VC, you picked some Blastoise, eliminating Mega Blastoise from the pick. What can I say about Blastoise? It's not Mega Launcher, it's a regular Blastoise.
Why don't I take Mega?
It could have.
Why?
It could have been Mega. But this thing is probably one of the most solid rapid spinners in the game. I really like Blastoise for that niche. But other than that, this thing, probably Assault Vest, good set for it. Maybe Scald. Tui's used it in the past pretty effectively, I do say. In the matches we did first season, I believe. He used it pretty well against me. After the first time, I kind of knew what he was doing. So we snuffed that out pretty fast. But I think it's a good pick for Tui's team. I know he knows how to use it pretty decently, probably better than most of the Pokemon that he's drafted in the past. So I think this is a good pick for Tui. Probably could have gone later in the draft, but still, I think it's nice to get what you need, what you think you need at any point in the draft. So, Damien.
Alright, I can say this is a very good choice as a defensive Pokemon. I don't know how he's going to use it attack-wise, but I don't know Tui's game when it comes to some of these Pokemon picks. I'm guessing this is another pick that says, oh, I like this. But its ability Torrent is going to come very handy with Blastoise, seeing as fit that his water-type moves will devastate a good amount of the competition. So I like the pick, but I'm wondering what came to mind when it came to this. I'm hoping it's going to be the same as always.
Actually, it's not. I actually put a decent amount of thought into this bit. Good lord, I know. I hope you're all sitting down when I said that. The reason I went for Blastoise is because I knew I could run it effectively just like I did in the Season 1, how I use Rain Dish, Rain Dance, Toxic, Tact, and one more, and Rest, I think it might have been.
I think you used... Oh, you said Toxic, never mind. Keep going.
Yeah. And I knew I could run it effectively. However, I just know I've got to mix it up a bit more because I ran it against Chaos twice and I only snuffed it out on my second time, and I was made to look a bit silly.
As usual. That's pretty useful.
Hey!
I'm just glad I can see it, man.
But as you can see, I'm beginning to form a Rain Dance team with Goodra and Blastoise.
That would be pretty good to see. Alright, moving on. We got these Galios with Hydreigon. I'm not sure how I feel about this thing. I know it's a really good special attacker. It's got decent bulk, but it's got a weakness to Fairy. It's got a weakness to Fighting, which is really common. So, it blocks your Psychic type moves, but you don't really need that. I think it kind of synergizes pretty well with the team. You got a Fairy Dragon Steel Core at least out of this, but I think it was a good round to take it. I don't know how it's going to work out on the team. I know it's got good coverage, but other than that, I'm interested to see how this is used.
I agree with Chaos here. I don't know how this is going to be used. It has decent stats, and its ability to levitate will protect it from a good amount of stuff. But a weakness to Fairy and Fighting, it's gonna be hit, and it's gonna be hit hard. I don't know how well this is gonna stand up to the rest of the picks or the picks that we've had so far, but I'm hoping and praying that Solgalios have an idea of what they're doing with Hydreigon.
I don't really know what to say about this pick. I don't know how the Solgalios are going to use this. It's an interesting one. I think it's one we've got to all look out for. Because I think if you just say, oh, we'll be fine, we could take that out, I think it'll catch us off guard. Because obviously it's got good stats, it's got a good move pool. I think it's one to watch for, but I'm not sure how he's going to use it.
All right. Next one on the draft is Rhode Island Eradicates with Rhydon. I actually like this thing a lot better than Rhyperior. Rhyperior is trash. Sorry, I had to say that. But this thing with Eviolite, bulky as crap. Yes, it's 4 times weak to grass. Yes, it's 4 times weak to water. But if you can get around that, good luck. But if you can get around that, this thing can wreck teams. It's got great attack. This thing could put a lot of dents into teams, and I think it'd be really cool. So, Damien, take it away.
Rhydon. Rhydon is a powerhouse. No questions there. Not great in speed, but makes up for it in attack, defense, and health. And its abilities, Lightning Rod and Rockhead, is going to do very well with it. Thing is with that, it's not going to, like, Electric Attacks is not going to do very well against it. I've seen a lot of people try to go for an electric type Pokemon, as I've seen throughout the draft. And its moves are going to do wicked amounts of damage. So this is a Pokemon that you guys are going to have to look out for.
I think with its ride on that, Eviolite's sets, as you mentioned, that will work beautiful. And as Chaos did say, Viperia is well and truly trash. Right. So I'm going to agree with Chaos on that one. And I also going to agree with Damien. I think this is a good pick. However, how many other coaches have this Armis? I'm going to say not many, so could have picked up much later. But you know what? A good pick. Covers Volcarona once again quite nicely. Mega Venusaur once again covers this quite nicely. So, quite a nice pick.
Okay. And next we have New York Matt picking up Gengar. Not going to lie, Gengar was on my list. Something I wanted to use. He did use it last season, and I think this thing looks pretty cool. I mean,
it's sweet to me.
I love Gengar. I mean, I'm a Gengar guy. It's one of my top favorite Kanto Pokemon. Check out that video. No plug. No shameless plug. But it's really cool one. It's really fast, really physical. It's such a glass cannon. It's a prime example of glass cannon. But with a Ghost Poison type like this, it's going to be good against the Fairy types that are going to be coming out. And it's also going to be nice to take on like normal types and fighting types. So you got a nice switch in there. Really pairs well with the Porygon. So I think it'll be really cool. I mean, he does have another Ghost type in Mimikyu, but I think Gengar also puts in some nice work, and it has some niche spots that Mimikyu might not be able to fill on the special side. So I think it could be used pretty well. I'm not sure if you should have picked it this early, but it's still a good pick. I'll give you that.
Gengar. I've always had like an affinity to Gengar. He wasn't very good in, attacking or having the great defense, but it is a Pokemon that is gonna be a hard, takedown. Thing is, with that, his Curse Body will also disable some moves from other Pokemon. So let's say that someone uses a move that's gonna do a lot of damage, or it's something someone's hoping on. It's gonna negate that, and it's gonna come down raining hard on anyone else. So this is a good choice, but yeah, I agree. It's a glass cannon.
With this Gengar pick, I think it's very interesting. I agree not going for the Mega. I think there's better Megas than Mega Gengar. I think, once again, they've got a nice switching on normal types. However, it's got two Ghost types now, because Mimikyu and Gengar. Is there any more than... Do you need two Ghost types? I would personally say no. I personally say that. Although, as much as I like Gengar, got Mimikyu, use a pick on Gengar on something else. I do believe it is a bit of a wasted pick. Although Gengar's good, although it's fantastic, I will not dispute that. Just think there's other areas you should fill. And if Gengar's at the end, then pick up Gengar. Don't take it early, take it later.
Alright, I think that was good analysis of that one. Let's move on to the Scarlet Strikers picking up the Mamoswine. Okay, I don't really care for this Pokemon too much, but I mean, Icing Ground. Icing Ground's okay. Ouch. I don't really care for it. I mean, Icing Ground is fine. I prefer it to be an Ice Rock type, so that way it resists fire. But fire types can come out and probably take this thing out. It does have access to like Ice Shard and things like that to move fast. It does hit pretty powerfully. So it is something you gotta look out for. Oh my god. It is something you gotta look out for, but I don't think it's gonna be too scary. So it could be a fun pick. We'll see how it runs. Damien.
This is a mainly attack Pokemon. So seeing its other picks, so Snorlax being the the defender / holy crap tanker, and then we have Rotom. But I don't know where they were going with this pick. It has some good attacks, but it's not going to do you any well against a good amount of the other Pokemon.
I have to say the Scarlet Strikers team here is shaping up to be a bit of a bulky team because you've now got Snorlax and you've got Mamoswine, two very bulky Pokemon. However, as Chaos says, I really don't care about Mamoswine. Ice Ground would have been much better, as he said, as Ice Rock. It's very slow. So, for example, bringing most fire types a flamethrower to their face, that Mamoswine is going to go down. Because although it's very good physically defensive, I don't think it's got very good special defense stat. I think it's got pretty poor ones, actually, if I remember correctly. Which may be wrong, I am often wrong, so... however, I think if you can run it right, use it. However, once again, I don't think many coaches wanted it. I can't imagine most of the other coaches sitting home going, "No, what I really need Mamoswine." So I don't think you could have. I think pick round 12, you could have picked it up. I think it's a bit of a wasted pick. Fill your needs before you go with fillers. Fill the needs.
All right.
Gonna have to make that into a shit one day.
Alright, so with the wheelhouse pick, the Scarlet Strikers also pick up their fourth pick, as you might have seen, a Alolan Golem. Again, another bulky Pokemon, but it is 4 times weak to ground, which is a very common typing, especially in competitive, so not sure how this thing is going to stack up. I never actually have used one, so I would like to see how this runs, and I'm very interested to see how he uses it. But I think this thing could work pretty well. Of course, it does get most of it. I think it gets all of the same moves as Golem does, and then some electric type ones as well. So we'll see what comes on with this thing, but I don't know exactly how it's going to play out.
To your point there, Chaos, that Alolan Golem does not get very many electric type moves. It gets a few, but it doesn't get very many. But this is a kind of a good choice as well, seeing it's one of its abilities is Magnet Pulse. And a lot of people have gone for Steel-type Pokemon, and which means that if your Pokemon is in danger, you cannot switch that Pokemon out. So if your main Pokemon that you're setting your whole team on is a Steel-type, and is losing, and you're going up against a Alolan Golem, it's not getting you out of there. But this is a good Pokemon for attack and defense, so I'd like to see how this is run.
Once again, as Kel says, it's another bulky Pokemon. As well, I'll go back to my point from a previous pick. Fill your needs before you pick fillers. I will make that into a shirt one day. That's a promise. However, Golem is part steel, I believe.
No, it's this one is electric and ground. The regular one is rock ground.
Well, aren't I a bit silly? 4 times weakness to ground, very silly. However, does negate water types, so that means Quagsire can come in. So, it's a bit of it's a good pick, but it's not a good pick because there's lots of weakness similar because you got 3 fighting type weaknesses. It's a lot of weaknesses.
Don't tell him about
Same thing. Yeah.
So I
Fill needs.
Fill needs. Yeah, fill needs. One more thing about Alolan Golem that I've just thought of. Air Balloon would be really cool to see on this thing. So that takes away the ground weakness for 1 hit at least. But you got fighting type moves and other things like that to take it out as well.Moving on. We got Mew picking up Ditto again in Tier 5, and I hate this thing so much. Ditto, the only set you can run with Ditto is like Transform, Choice Scarf. And honestly, who's going to pick Ditto? This was a terrible pick. It could have gone round 12. Again, as Chewie said, fill your needs! Fill your needs! But
Fill your goddamn needs, boy!
Language. But I think this thing would be really fun to see again. I know he ran against me last year, but, you just got to be able to prep for a Ditto again with your entire team. So, interesting.
Why? Why? Why is this one of your main choices? It's only good for Transform. And if you don't get the transformation you want, it's stuck with it. Oh no! Oh no! I can't add anything to this fire. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to rage on this like I raged on Tekken last year. Jesus.
Yeah, that sums up my opinions as well. Mew, my name is Chewy5, and my profession is professional idiot. Man, what were you thinking? Fill your goddamn needs before you pick fillers. That is all before
I have a joke, but I don't think this is a PG show.
Do not bring that joke into my Christian Minecraft server. Moving on. Let's go to Rhode Island Eradicates and picking up a Lowland Persian. Okay, so not gonna lie, this thing is pretty cool. I like a Lowland Persian. It's a lot better than regular Persian in my opinion. It gets the same moves, but like it's awesome. I really wanted to use one in my Let's Go playthrough, but you know, I got Pikachu, so I don't know what I'm talking about. But this thing does get really cool moves, a lot of coverage. Again, like Persian had a lot of coverage. You get like fire, you get with flamethrower, electric, I believe with thunderbolt. I think you might get scald or maybe like surf or something like that. This thing, it gets a lot of coverage. It's really good Pokemon, and I think it was a good pick. It might have been able to go later in the draft, but you know, it's still good. Damien.
Overall, this pick is not that bad, but again, it's good with speed. Also, why does it look like it needs to be put down? But its abilities, Furco and Technician does give it a slight advantage, seeing as that Technician increases the power of moves, and the other one, which is Furco, also reduces the physical attack by 50%. So this can be a very dangerous one, but somebody put this cat out of misery. Tui, go ahead.
To put it out of his misery, just get a Hitmonchan and focus punch it to the face.
No, you have to land a hit. You have to land a.
It'll make it worse. It will make it worse. Oh God.
Right. Moving on.
Okay. Moving on back to what I was going to say is I'm going to say I have to admit the Eradicate's doing one thing better than every other team. Fulfilling the needs. 4 different types. Couple of different weaknesses in there. Very impressed. Good work, Eradicates.
I think the Scavaliers did well too. Now moving on. So
yes, funny
we're going to go to the Solgalios picking up Tui's favorite Pokemon in this format. Infernape! Rip Tui in chat, guys. Give me those Rip Tuis. I want to see them. Let them out.
Give it to him.
Rip Tui. Join me in hashtag Rip Tui. I'm doing it right now. But this thing, as we've seen in the past, Tui's actually kind of can use this thing. Actually, Tui, this is probably your best Pokemon to use in competitive.
It is.
So, really sad to see it go on a different team, but it fits the team so well with a nice dark, psychic, and fighting type. Also, a really good fire type. Can run mixed, can run physical, can run special. Depending on how you want to run this thing, it can run a lot of different options. It's a really cool Pokemon, and I'm really interested to see how it runs on a different team besides Tui this season. So, have fun.
It's gonna be really fun to see him not like get into like the whole like let's gang up on everybody with his Infernape. I'm just gonna watch as he gets burned by his own Pokemon. But this is a great overall choice, seeing as that it's standing next to Necrozma. Then we got Magearna, Hydreigon. It fits the bill perfectly, and with its abilities Blaze, which increases fire type attacks, which is going to be using very heavily. This is an overall amazing choice.
I'm not going to lie. There is part of me that died inside on that day. However, I'm going to have to praise the Solglaze for a fantastic pick. Trust me, I know better than anyone. This is a brilliant Pokemon. With Solglaze, we do have a beef now, by the way. I'm going to come and whoop your ass.
Hey, not in my Christian Minecraft server.
Anyway, back to the point.
If I'm not allowed to, you're not allowed to either.
Great pick, and I was gonna say you could have taken it late to be if you knew who was on the pick clock connect, you knew where he was going, and you knew someone was a bit heartbroken. I'm dead inside.
Moving on. Derby Dog fans, pick up a Azumarill, a water fairy type. I'm not sure exactly how this thing is gonna work out. I think
what we think.
I think you shouldn't have taken Blastoise if you're gonna take Azumarill. If you're going to
I
say
agree.
Blastoise, otherwise, I would make it Mega. But, Rain Team, why not? And let's just throw that out there, as Tui has in chat. Let's throw a Rain Team out there. One of this thing's biggest threat is not thick fat. Wow, I can't even talk. Is huge power or pure power, one of the two it gets, and then Belly Drum. This thing can wreck two teams, especially with Stab Aqua Jet. This thing just wrecks, but you got to get set up. You got to lose half your HP, and you're probably not going to live a hit if the opponent is prepped for it. So maybe not the best thing in the world, but this thing can work if you get it in on the right time.
I'm pretty upset at this pick.
You're not the only one.
I agree, because isn't this the same place? Isn't this the same place that your Infernape was last season?
Yeah.
So, Thick Fat, its ability Thick Fat, it reduces fire types, which it was already reduced anyway, and ice types, which is really not going to do much to them. And huge power, seeing as with that, it raises the Pokemon's attack stat if it wasn't already low as crap anyway. So, I need to know, why?
Have a guess.
Shotgun!
In one.
Last minute.
Yeah, let me explain myself on this one. If you don't know, Infernape was basically the Derby Donphan savior for the last 2 seasons, and it just got sniped right into my nose.
If you wanted it bad enough, take it round 1.
I should have done.
Thank you, Solgaleo.
Yeah, I don't know, but they've absolutely mugged me off here. However, Derby Donphan coach, whatever idiot you may be, fill your needs before you fill, you idiot.
Yeah, tell that loser. Tell him!
You moron!
Alright, we're gonna move on. Let's move on. Virginia Escavaliers picked up Lucario in Tier 3, Fighting Steel type. Okay, so I can go with what I want to talk about with this pick. I really like Lucario. That's about it. I really like Lucario. I wanted to use it in Draft League. I think it's got some really cool moves. Again, really good Pokemon too. Takes off a Mega Evolution, which, you couldn't use anyway because it's Uber. But you don't have to know that. I think it's a really cool Pokemon. I think it's going to work really well, and I'm really excited to see how I'm going to use it this season because I don't even know how I'm going to use it yet. Just telling you that.
All I could see is that the Lucario is going to pick up the scraps to where Alolan Ninetales is going to be, lacking. All I could say is his abilities kind of, contradict each other, seeing as with that one prevents him from flinching and the other one gives him a speed boost when he does flinch. So, yeah. But other than that, Lucario is an overall great choice. It's going to cover a lot of the weaknesses from other Pokemon that you have on your team. Garchomp and some of the other areas, so speed and special attack. And for Alolan Ninetales, mostly everything else. So, overall, it's a great choice. It's going to be a great cover.
Yeah, I got a good pick from Damien. Yay! Oh wait, I got that on Jirachi. Never mind. Go ahead. I didn't say anything. Go ahead.
Okay.
Hello.
My opinions on this pick is brilliant pick. He's filling his team's needs and not picking fillers. He's a smart boy. Very, very smart boy. Good pick. Everybody knows Lucario is an Uber, I believe.
Mega Lucario is an Uber.
Mm-hmm. Mega Lucario is Uber. So that pretty much says it all, really, that it's very, very good. Okay. Yeah. Clever boy.
Moving on to my next pick. If I have to remember this right, I really wanted to use this thing, and it's Mismagius. I wanted a nice solid ghost type. Again, as I talked about, it's good for the coverage things and takes care of not really being weak to anything besides itself and dark. And, dark types aren't that common, and I got Lucario to cover for that. So I think these two picks back-to-back really match really well, and that's why I wanted to grab both of them. I think they work really great together and really good with the rest of the team. It gives me a fighting type, it gives me a ghost type. So I'm really stacking out my team now, really using it to a fun method to try some new things out. And this thing can really wreck teams if you use it correctly, which I'm hoping to do. So be prepared.
Uh-oh.
Poor Lucario. He's going to have to cover so many Pokemon. But anyway, Mismagius is going to be a very good Pokemon, sort of like Gengar for one of the other teams. It's it can't be really hit. And its ability to levitate is gonna cover it from any other like ground type attacks. That I believe ground types can hit ghost types, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, but
Or-
levitate negates that.
I know I'm saying ghost types can be hit by rock types, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's gonna cover that. So all around, great choice. It's gonna cover special attack, special defense, and great amount of speed. So let's see how you do there, buddy.
Oh, right, yeah, that's my pick. My turn to... I was distracting making merchandise. This pick is very good because it's actually, I was going to say, pretty much where I'd expect Miss Maggie's to go because somebody did have their eye on it. May or may not have been me.
Sorry, cough.
About the third time I've been sniped in this leading draft. Anywho, very good pick, I would say. Filled the needs on his team and not picked to fill him immediately. Good choice, clever boy. That's all I've got to say, really. However, isn't an idiot picking next.
I'll be right back. My family's calling me. Just skip me or the next pick.
Okay.
I'll get you when you come back.
All right.
Thank God he's
so
not
moving on to the Davidon fans, which is misspelled because they don't know how to spell. We got a Mega Alakazam.
No, we don't.
Okay, this thing is gonna be. This is fun to talk about. I like Alakazam. I just think it's a weird Pokemon. I really do. I'd never liked trade evolutions. I mean, besides Gengar, but that's me. But Mega Alakazam, I think it's kind of overkill. I mean, Alakazam probably would do the team just as fine. It takes away your ability to use some items, so you have to run obviously Mega Alakazamite. So not Mega Alakazamite. But that takes away your options here. But it's a really good Psychic type, and it really goes well with your team. Gives you a nice hard special attacker, something that Goodra might rely on if it goes down. So I think it pairs really well with Goodra there too. Blastoise, again, probably more of a physical tank, more defensive. So not going to be using so much special type moves. But this gives you a nice powerful special attacker, and we'll see how it works. Damien, is that you back?
Yeah, my opinion on my own pick here is not a great pick, to be honest. I don't know. I don't remember this being a panic pick.
I'm hoping not.
I just don't really know where I went here. I will admit, a very, very poor pick. So many better Megas. I would have been better taking a Mega Blastoise, to be honest. Yeah, Pastry was an idiot.
Yeah, let me. You guys want me to put my input real quick?
Yes.
Alright, so we're on Mega Alakazam. Mega Alakazam. Yeah, what were you thinking there?
I think I may have been.
Shotgun, maybe?
Are you sure you haven't been drinking, my friend? Its ability is gonna cover it like a small bit, but it's not gonna do very much of anything else. So
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking myself. That's worrying when the own coach is going, oh God, what have I done here?
Alright. So moving on, we have the Solgalios taking a Weezing. Okay. Alright. Interesting. Floaty boy. We got this. Rule number 1 with Weezing. Explosion, explosion, explosion. This thing can go boom at any second. Get rid of it ASAP. Or have a steel type, something that won't get damaged by it that much. This thing has got a lot of coverage, a good special attacker, so maybe you see more of a physical in front of due to it. A lot of special attackers on this team, actually. But, you know, this thing could be fun. It's a nice little niche pick. I don't think it really was on anybody's radar, as Tui would probably point out later on. But it's something that is interesting to pick up maybe later in the draft. Kind of early for a 5th round pick, but, you know, what you got?
Oh, he's back.
Oh, I guess it's me. Weezing. Good with defense and good with attack, but yeah, I would say Explosion is going to be a death knell for somebody's favorite Pokemon, and death knell for this Pokemon as well. Seeing as that's mostly the best thing they can do is go boom and have suicidal tendencies. Um, in any other way, I say this is a kind of good choice, but another way it could have gone another way. You could have found another Pokemon that can probably do something else.
With this pick, the only one thing you can do is go boom. Yeah, I should have picked it up later. Kels is absolutely right. I don't think this was on anyone's radar. Should have picked at least around 10 or later, hopefully later. One thing I will say, Sludge Bomb, Black Sludge could work.
In a way.
Yeah.
I was thinking
I'm not
Span Explosion.
That's a good shout, actually.
I know.
I don't know how the Pokeballs are going to run this, but it'll be interesting, and we will see.
Can I add one more thing? If
Yes.
it looks like a new talk, it will probably say, "I go boom."
Yep.
Sorry, I have a.
Moving on. We got I think it's the Rhode Island Raticate, which I'm correct, in Fortress. Okay, so this thing, I think Fortress is what am I saying? Fortress is definitely the best hazard setter on the team. One of the really good rapid spinners in the game as well. But, this thing might be overpriced for what it's worth. I think it's a tier 2 mon, and I really don't think it should be a tier 2 mon. But, that's where it's put in Smogon, and I'm not going to change it, because if it's good in Smogon, someone's going to use it well in this too. So, maybe not the best pick in the world. I think a lot of other things could have set hazards better. But it does give you some nice ability to rapid spin, which is going to help out that Volcarona, especially with the rocks coming up. So it's not maybe the worst pick in the world, but I don't think anyone really wanted Fortress, so maybe could have waited.
That's kind of sad. I know he wanted him, but his ability sturdy is probably going to come in handy, especially if he's doing well in a match and somebody super takes him down. Seeing as with that he is a bug / steel type, so it's probably gonna get hit pretty hard. But its defensive stat is probably gonna take that down a notch. But I would say this is overall a great choice. Is the defensive Pokemon, seeing as with that his other, Pokemon are most likely ability and attacks more than defense. So this is a way to boost
that. One thing I will say about Fortress that I think you two have both totally missed is Explosion.
Yeah.
I actually do believe that Eradicate's probably wanted Weezing now I think about it. Because Weezing can do Toxic, Sludge Bomb, Explosion. I do wonder whether they wanted Weezing. However, I won't dispute it. I will say a tier 2 is very hefty. But once again, he has filled his needs. He has not picked a filler which I have made into a shirt.
Nice.
It's
so many suicide Pokemon.
So overall, I would agree with Damon. It's a pretty good pick. However, for round 5 pick, I think was this bit early. Hold on, my friend. Hold on. Pick the Pokemon that are needed. Don't pick fillers. Pick Pokemon you need.
Pokemon to go.
Okay, next please.
Yes.
Okay, we gotta go with the New York Met and picking up Savali. Okay. So, this thing... Actually, I looked at Type Null, but, I thought Type Null would be pretty good to have on a team. But this thing actually works pretty well. Saying that every week you do not know what type it could be. It could be a normal type. It could be a dragon type. It could be any one of the 18 types out there. It could be a ghost type, even though he already has to. Who knows? We could see a lot of different things coming from this thing. It just fulfills a lot of good spots. Parting Shot is such a great move on this Pokemon. It allows it to switch in and out. And this thing, honestly, is pretty nice stats across the board. So it can be run a lot of different ways as well. So I think it was a good pick. I don't really think a lot of people were going to pick it. So maybe could have gone later, but it's still a good pick, I'd say.
So basically, this is a new generation Eevee. Basically, um, well, without the transformations. But I don't know much about this Pokemon. It does have a good in attack and great in speed, but it could be anything. So I guess it's a gamble on what you get.
With this pick, I'm actually gonna have to say one of my favorite picks for draft. So, reason being, as you say, it could be any type. And that is something I like, because something I used with Oricorio in last season was I used Surprise. So I would run one form so many weeks, and then I'd run into a totally different form and get you by surprise. But this is even more harsher with Savali. What an absolutely super pick by Super Mew. And I have just had word that Ender Mewtwo is going to pick it up soon, so actually may have been a good pick. And good snipe there, Super Mew, to take it off Ender Mewtwo. It certainly wasn't on my radar. I'm not sure if it was on Chaos. Was it on your radar?
Nope.
Yeah, I don't know if it was truly a good pick. However, I don't know what tier it is, but I think that was a great pick. Good work.
I believe it's a 5. But moving on, we have the Starlight Strikers picking up everybody's least favorite Lego, Ferrothorn. Really good addition to a bulky team. You have the bulk master himself, Ferrothorn. I hate this thing. I really hate this thing. It's so bad because it's so good. This thing, tier 1 good pick, I gotta say. Probably should have been picked tier 1. I'm surprised it lasted 5 rounds, actually, because this thing is insanely good. Good typing, steel grass, really only 4 times weak to fire, and you want to hit it specially because it's got iron barbs, and it's going to hurt you if you hit it. It also can wear out your team, usually toxic, leech seed, maybe like one of the stacking hazards like spikes or maybe even rocks. It's a really good pick, and really can put dents in teams by stalling them out. So this is going to be a fun one to take on, and get ready for a bulky showdown against the Scarlet Strikers.
Thing is that I don't know much about this Pokemon either, but it's seeming like it's gonna be a very bulky type Pokemon. But Ferrothorn being a grass and steel type, it's not gonna do very much in the way of, getting out of the way of most things. It's looking like it's just gonna, sit there and say, "Come at me, bro." And its ability, I believe it's Iron Barb, if I'm not mistaken. And it's most likely just gonna damage any Pokemon that's gonna go for a physical hit, seeing as it's like something like Mega Punch. It's gonna do a good amount of damage regardless. So not a bad choice, but also not the best choice.
I'm gonna say I hate you for taking another bulky Pokemon. Good pick because you're building a bulky team here. And I think actually it's becoming quite a tough team to take down. You'll have to go for tactics. But also with this Ferrothorn, it's not particularly slow. It's not the quickest, but it's not slow. So unlike Snorlax and Slamstorm, where they are snail-paced, you've actually got a reasonably quick Pokemon here. And that's something you needed, except for Rotom. It was a very, very, very slow team. That's something you needed. A good pick, actually, because it's, as Kel said, the Bulk Master. Now I'm amazed it lasted to round 5. Why didn't one of us pick it up? I do not know. Good pick.
Am I tempting a little bit of jealousy there, Mr. Tui?
Maybe.
All right, next up on the screen, we already got Skarmory. So, I think this is okay. I'm not really certain that this is a great pick. It does give him an attacker, if you want to put it that way. I mean, Skarmory is a really hard Pokemon to counter. Really hard to counter, but again, it's really going to be common to see not ice types. It's going to be common to see fire types coming into this game. I can see Infernape really doing a lot of good work on this team. Sorry, Tui, but this is going to be a good team for Infernape to take on because fighting is going to be good and fire is going to be good. Both of its stabs going to be able to take on this team pretty nicely. So maybe bulky's not the best way to go, but this thing with Skarmory, you're probably going to rely on flinches, and I mean, it could be okay. I don't know, but we'll see.
All I can say is You're doing too much defense. Go with something that can do an attack. Oh, sweet God. He's just trying to last. Skarmory. He was never the best in attack. I've always preferred some like Aerodactyl to Skarmory, but that would probably be a better choice, seeing as that it has almost the same amount of defense as Skarmory, but a lot more added into the attack as well. This wasn't a best choice. I see he's trying to build a bulky team, but you need something in attack, my friend. Please.
What? Not a good pick here, to be honest. Gonna have to say it like it is. Not a good pick. What you have done is you have... Can anybody guess what I'm about to say?
So his brain works in intervals.
Yeah, basically, you need to pick... Fill your needs. Do not pick fillers this early. This is clearly a filler because it's your third Pokemon that is weak to fire. I think this pick was taken quite late on. I think it was, as Chaos put it, a shotgun pick. I think he's taken a leaf out of my playbook there. Not a good move, believe me. I think, it's too bulky, this team at this point, because you're clearly looking for a stall win, which means other teams are going to work much more quickly and go for speed teams. So you've got a bit of a weakness there, and I'm not going to lie. Although you could be a championship contender if you play your moves right, this could be a disastrous season for you.
I mean, one thing I can see with this team right now is it could be a really good Trick Room team, but other than that, you don't really have anything to set it. So maybe that's something to come down the road. But moving on, we have the New York Met picking up Vaporeon, one of my favorite. Why do I keep saying one of my favorite? It's my favorite evolution by far. But this set is pretty typical. It's going to be Scald, it's going to be Ice Beam, it's going to be some recovery move, and probably either like Wish or like maybe like Aqua Ring, which is probably going to be Wish. And then you either got one of your last moves for whatever you want to do, most likely Toxic or Protect. So it's pretty standard. I'm not really worried about it at all. Vaporeon's got not many tricks to use. So it's pretty standard. It's okay pick. Probably could have gone later on in the draft, honestly. But, I know he likes Mew. I know Mew likes... Wow, he likes Mew. I know he likes Vaporeon, so I think it was something he really wanted to grab.
I can say this is actually a pretty good choice. I mean, not in, like, the stat-wise, but seeing as that some people have gone with water typing Tui. Its water absorbability is gonna do it justice, and that thing is that it absorbs water type attacks as well. So it could do a lot of things. So it's basically water gun, and some of that is gonna do a bit of damage, but in the long run, it's not gonna hold out very long.
Oh, is it my turn? Yeah. As I was gonna say, yeah, this is a good pick. He is filling in a need, not picking a filler. Good pick. Hashtag made the shirt. Good pick overall. However, still that blaring error of that Ditto. If that Ditto wasn't there, this is shaping up to be a nice team, but that Ditto... Oh... Good. Not good. No.
Moving on, we have Rhode Island Rallycates picking up Tornadus. It's incarnate form. Incarnate. I know which form it is. I apologize for the shiny sprite here, but you probably can't tell. This thing, really powerful, obviously. Not a whole lot of tricks to do. It's probably going to be running mixed. U-turn's really good move on it to switch in and out. Give it some viability. Defog, probably something you could see here in case maybe I forgot what Fortress's name was for a second. Maybe if Fortress doesn't come, Defog would be something to do on this, but it's going to take 25% damage. So maybe not the best thing in the world, but it's going to hit really hard like a truck. Probably Hurricane, Focus Blast, U-turn, and put your last move in here, most likely Hammer Arm, something like that. So pretty standard set. but it could work out. I don't remember what the Z Crystal is for this team, but this could be a fun thing to see.
This is Tornadus, right?
This is. Did I say Thunderous? It's Tornadus. Tornadus Incarnate.
Okay. I'm just making sure. Some of his abilities, probably like some like Prankster, is probably gonna do it justice, and some of the battles. But otherwise, it's a pretty solid Pokemon to have. It's gonna cover up some of the attacks that is like Fortress loses, or something like Venusaur will probably lose in some of that aspect as well. So overall, pretty good choice.
I'm going to have to say good pick, filled the need, didn't pick a filler, good work, that's my boy. I'm actually really liking this team. I'm really liking the build of this team. Nothing more I can really say about this.
Right,
I'm really liking this build.
Then we'll move on to the Solgalios, picking up Galvantula. This thing actually packs a pretty good punch. I really like it as a special attacker. It's okay typing. Bug and electric, obviously. Ground, obviously prominent. Fire is pretty prominent, as we have seen, but he took out probably one of the better ones in Infernape. So, I don't know what really this thing is going to do for the team. It doesn't really fit in too well, in my opinion. I mean, it gives you a bug type, so I guess one last thing to take on, like your Necrozma or your Hydreigon. But other than that, I don't really know what it's going to be doing. Maybe you could have waited a little bit longer, maybe picked up a better electric type or a bug type if you wanted those types, but not really necessary, I don't think.
I'm gonna take a thing from Chewy, and I'm hoping after this I'm gonna go hang myself from my bathroom.
Hey.
So you need there. Hey, we've already killed some of the PG. This is not a Christian Minecraft server now.
This is.
But Galvantula is great, but bug and electric typing, it's gonna be hit hard. Thing is that Chewy has a lot of water typing. Other people have a lot of things that's gonna, affect.
Check my words.
So fire. I'm trying to help you.
You're trying to bash him. To be fair, it's easy.
A little bit. But it's not gonna be it's not a good choice. Sorry there, bud.
I'm going to disagree because this gives him an electric type, and I think having an electric type and a bug type in one, good. Because you can slow it down with Electro Web, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
So you can Electro Web 2 times and then Volt Switch out of there and just set up. And I believe this also gets toxic, so you could Electro Web and Toxic and Volt Switch.
But you gotta have to think it's a bug type too. That's his first typing. It's gonna be hit hard by fire types.
Yeah, I haven't thought about. Yeah, you're right, actually. I'm actually gonna agree with you on that one.
Moving on to more disappointment here.
Oh, don't judge me, Polytone.
No!
We got Polytone, and I wonder what this thing could possibly do. I might have run it last season, and I probably know what it runs. This thing is such a Rain Dance set. It's got Drizzle, probably the best Drizzle Pokemon in the tier, unless you really want to take Pelipper for some reason.
You never know with me, do you?
Unless you really want to, you could. But I really like this thing. It's decently bulky. You can run it slightly different, but you're probably going to see a Rain set if it comes. And it doesn't have much other than like Scald, Ice Beam. That's pretty much it. So it's a decent pick, but maybe could go later in the draft. Obviously, he's going for a Rain team here. If you couldn't tell by the maybe the Blastoise or the Azumarill or maybe the Drizzle Pokemon that he just drafted. 3 water types. I don't know. Maybe a Rain team. Maybe. Don't hold me to it. It could be a Rain team. Might not be though. Damien.
Somebody killed this toad with fire. Oh wait, it's water type. Damn it. Seeing as fit that its attack and distance is hello. Chewy, I'm not sure where you went with this pick. Seeing as fit that probably something like, I don't know, Poliwrath would do you a little more better. But Its water absorb ability is going to probably do the same as something like Vaporeon, which I said earlier. It's going to take a lot of water types, but not a lot of people have picked another water type thing but you. But also, Damp is going to prevent something like Fortress and the Appley Weasling from destroying this Pokemon. So, not a bad choice, but also not the best choice you could have made.
Let me just defend myself here.
Okay.
I don't know what I was thinking either. As I've been going on about how you need to pick your needs, fill your needs before you pick your fillers. And what have I gone and done here?
You picked your fillers before you got your needs, man.
Damn right. Damn right I have. What a wally.
Great defense.
What a moron I am.
Round of applause.
Great defense. You pulled the Forrest Gump card. You made yourself look stupid before someone else caught you.
Thank you. I think this is actually the last water type I took. So the rain team is officially, and I'm not going to be in last place. I've just seen the comments. The rain team has taken shape. I'm going to make that into merch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Comment down below. Comment in the chat section, please. Someone put out a number of how many minutes it's going to take before all three of these Pokemon are going to die.
30 seconds.
Moving on, we got the Virginia Escalators picking up Incineroar. Okay, let me explain this pick a little bit here. As you guys know, I don't like to use things I've used in previous seasons, and this is the first pick I've ever picked up from any of the previous seasons that I've used on my team. But to be fair, I only used Incineroar for like a game last season, so I wanted to pick it up again and use it. And honestly, this wasn't my first pick. However, my first pick was still on the board when I drafted it. So, I mean, I just liked it better. I found it was a better pick for my team. I really like the Fire and Dark type as much as I hate Incineroar as a Pokemon and as a design. But I think it's got really nice moves, got good coverage. U-turn something in there, Leech Life. Dark's Lariat, obviously a great move to get through stack mons. So, it's going to be fun for me to use this, and I'm really excited to have Incineroar on my team from the very beginning, and we'll see how it stacks up against everybody else later on. Hashtag Tony and Tiger in chat.
It's great. It's a great choice. Seeing as fit that this Pokemon not only has the ability to Blaze and Intimidate cuts mostly all attacks in half, but also Blaze will upgrade its fire attacks. Plus, how great his stats is, I can't say nothing bad. It's a great choice, and it's gonna go well going with Lucario. It's gonna cover again. I'm gonna keep on saying this. It's gonna cover Ninetales. Thank God. I would say that you kind of stacked the deck in your favor for this one.
Do we?
Yeah. Sorry, I was just typing something. Chat. I think this is a good pick. You have filled your need before you picked a filler. Good work, my man. You've done better than I have. At my own saying. I'm gonna have to say something. This is a good pick. Fire Dark, I like the typing. However, I despise the design. I will agree with you on that. I don't know where it can go from here with Incineroar. It's a pick I'm not sure about. I will not dispute you know what you're doing when it comes to pulling something out your backside. So I won't doubt you, but I am not sure.
I'll just use it against you to sweep you. That's okay. Next pick, I'm going to pick up Regirock as I'm a Pokemon. So, this is one of the picks I was really unsure about, but something I really wanted to do. Regirock is by far a weird pick for me, a tier 5 mon, but it's got really great defenses, and if you look at my team, I'm more of an attacking team as of now. Not really got a lot of defenses and things to stand up against it. I mean, Rock is not the best type for defense, but I wanted to try out Regirock. I think it would be really cool to use. It was probably one of the better defensive Pokemon left with the points I had available, and I didn't want to use something from a previous season, which I was really afraid of seeing, but that might be coming back very, very soon, so we'll see what else comes of it. Go ahead and butcher this pick, guys. I'm allowing you to do it because it's not the greatest pick in the world, but it works.
What were you thinking?
Okay, well, thank you, Tilly.
Welcome.
all I gotta say is I'm kind of in between on this one. I can't say I'm gonna butcher this, but yes, what in the world are you doing picking up a Reggie? But its defenses are sky high, and its attack is not bad, but in speed and everything else, it's and against like others, so like steel and somewhat of electric typings, you kind of put yourself at a disadvantage with that one. Well, with this Pokemon, anyway.
I've already got my opinions known of this Pokemon. What were you thinking, Chaos? What were you thinking? It's slow, it's weak to a lot of typing, and you've got Pokemon already weak to those typings. Like, I mean, I will not dispute you know how to get yourself out of a situation, but even I'm going, what were you thinking? Hashtag Chaos has done messed up on this one.
Hashtag believe in your boy on this one, man. I'm gonna bring Incineroar and Regirock and destroy you. This is gonna happen. You're gonna laugh. You laugh now, but you'll be crying later.
Chewy, I wouldn't be the one saying that someone messed up, seeing as fit that you're the right dance team.
Alright, let's move on. Let's go to the Dawn fans.
All you need is Ludicolo.
Let's go to the Dawn fans and get Talonflame. Interesting.
Speaking of which,
I'm not saying it's better than your water type picks, and it's probably your second best pick. So
yes,
by far.
So far, that's after Gudra. Just saying. So like the rest are crap. But this thing really only good if it's at full health, and there's one really nice way to get rid of it from full health, and that is my little friend called Stealth Rocks. So good luck with this thing. Brave Bird, Roost, Flame, what is it? Flare Blitz, something like that. Recoil is going to be fun for this thing, so we'll see how this works. That's something I've always wanted to draft, and nice cojones for taking this thing, but let's see how this works.
I'm going to take a line from you two. What were you thinking? Let's see. It's great in speed, but what else? It has flame body, which is probably going to burn somebody, but the thing is that everyone else has mostly ranged attacks and no one's going to get up close, besides someone like Lucario, which has Aura Sphere.
Well, maybe not. We'll see.
Going to do more?
No, you already know that I'm going to bring Regirock and Incineroar. That's my whole team against Tui. That's all I'm going to bring. I'm going to win.
Well, it's a departure from the other three Pokemon, which is probably going to take down most of its fire types. Oh! But, go ahead.
Tui?
His brain is working in intervals. We need to wait a couple seconds.
Alright, Tui's AOL right now. AWOL. So we're going to move on to the next pick.
I'm about to say LOL.
We're moving on to the next pick. We got the Solgalios picking up Barbarical, whatever you want to say. The binacle, the weird rock thing that looks creepy and makes me not want to ever play Pokemon again in my life. But rock, water type, okay. 4 times weak to grass. Good luck. Pretty slow Pokemon, but it is pretty powerful too. So if you're not prepped for it, it could be something to watch out for. I do believe it gets access to Shell Smash, which could be really fun to see. So we'll see what's going on with this team later on.
What is that thing? Holy God. Okay, rock and water type is gonna help it in the long run. Great attack, great defense. It's not gonna be doing good at very anything else. Its ability, Sniper and Tough Claws, probably gonna help it out. So it decreases the power of critical hits. So if you get a hit with a critical, it's probably gonna do a lot of damage to you. And the rest, like Tough Claws, increases the power of moves. So I guess it's gonna work in a good thing, but I don't know why it has to look like an earthworm that grew a face and look like it wants to kill you.
Just don't look up its shiny form, and you'll be okay. You won't throw up unless you look at that. But moving on, we have the Rhode Island.
I am going down.
Rhode Island Raticates.
Oh dear God!
Rhode Island Raticates picking up Confay. I told you not to look at it. Rhode Island Raticates pick up Confay. Okay, this thing, interesting. Good healer mon. That's always good. It's a fairy type, so interesting. Got one of its great checks out of the way in Venusaur, so that's nice to see. But this thing really not going to do much besides like heal up your team. So basically what you do is just take out the rest of the team, and this thing is left last. It's probably going to die, and you probably secure a victory if it's the last thing standing. So it's okay. It's a decent pick. I would say it could go a little bit later, but we are midway through the draft, so maybe it was about time for this thing to come, but we'll see. It could be good. It could also be terrible, but it could be good.
I'm glad that someone picked the Hawaii version of Cup. But this you see what I'm talking about, though.
Yeah, I see it now that you mention it.
How his health is and how his attack is. Now you're trying to go for something else, so I'm going to take something from Tui again, and I don't know where he went. You're kind of using a filler there, Pokemon here. I don't know what it's going to do to the other Pokemon, so I'm guessing this is just fodder for your Rhydon, for something it could hold, so it could take like a Hyper Beam to the face and let it keep on going. Let me hold you here and let's burn you so I can go.
Well,
okay.
Since Tui's not here, make sure you fill your team before you pick your fillers. Okay, we're good. Move on. Next is New York Met picking up Salazzle, and so this is the fire type I was referencing earlier on. This is something I wanted to look at and pick, but it's really so much of a glass cannon, and it's 4 times weak to ground, which is one of the worst weaknesses to have in this type of play because ground is very common, and most things get access to Earthquake or Earth Power. So maybe not the best thing in the world to draft. I mean, it is pretty fast. It does hit pretty hard. So maybe like a Specs or a Scarf set. That's probably the only way it can run. But otherwise, it puts decent dents in the team. It's a cool Pokemon in design and like lore, but we'll see how it goes. Damien.
Okay, so the New York Mets have picked up the Prostitute Pokemon. Great.
Damien.
Corrosion. I'm sorry. I had to. You know the joke was. Corrosion is gonna do it very well, seeing as that it can poison any Pokemon. So if you touch it, it's basically gonna poison you. Something like Amy Winehouse. But otherwise, its speed is great, its special attack is great, but it's not good in any other category. It's gonna get hurt pretty badly, so looks like you're kind of building a filler deck there, my friend. So let's hope that your other Pokemon are kind of better than this.
Tui.
I'm back, by the way, guys. Fix the issue. Turns out putting your microphone on mute is not smart.
Yeah, it's not.
It's great work at intervals, ladies and gentlemen. Okay.
British people, ladies and gentlemen, that's the answer. My opinion on this pick is decent. Hasn't got a fire type, needed a fire type. Feels the need, however. Does it add another weakness to fighting type? Yes, it does. So, good pick. Could be better, though. Who picked Comfey?
Someone picked Comfey. Well, yeah, the Hawaiian version of Cutty.
Yes.
Oh, God. Move on. Good God.
To the Scarlet Strikers, and they picked up Sneasel, I believe, in Tier 5. Interesting pick. I'm not sure why Weavile wasn't your pick. Maybe because of points.
Eviolite?
I was just hoping it was.
Eviolite, yeah, is something I could see. That could be something, but usually you want, like, I don't know, some boosting item or like an Assault Vest or something. But we could see what this thing likes to run is Fake Out and like Knockoff. So probably something like that. Maybe Ice Shard to come along, but you probably don't need it. You probably could run like an actual Ice type move to take it on. I don't know if this thing gets Ice Punch. I'm not sure. I don't think it does, but it might. But it's a decent pick. Again, another fire weakness on your team, another fighting weakness on your team. Infernape's looking really good for this team.
Sneasel. Thank God you picked up an attack Pokemon. Not the best attack Pokemon. You could have went with Weavile, which is probably going to do you much better than this. You picked up an attack Pokemon, and I applaud you. But Inner Focus and Kenai are going to do very well in several sections with this Pokemon. Its moveset is pretty diverse, so it's going to do a lot of damage to a lot of different Pokemon. But its health is very low. It's not going to take very many hits. And its defense is not pretty good. So again, you could have went with Weavile. You were on the right track, but you chose the wrong evolution. You picked the wrong side of the section.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Should have gone Weavile. Eviolite, can't see working. No. Not sure. However, thank crikey me, you went for an attacking Pokemon, not a bulky Pokemon. Good choice, my friend. Very, very good choice. Should have gone Weavile, though.
Are you just saying that so, like, you at least now have a Pokemon that you can actually attack and hurt?
I do wonder.
Well, let's see what else they pick up in the next round, as they got the pick of Zebstrika, their mascot, actually. Gets to come on the team. And speaking of good attackers, here we go. Finally something that might put a dent in some teams. I mean, it's got to set up first, though. But it's got really cool abilities. I guess it could switch in on your electric type moves, which, I mean, you shouldn't really worry about saying Mamoswine is immune to it. Rotom Wash tanks is neutral to it. Golem tanks some. Ferrothorn tanks some. Everybody pretty much tanks them. So maybe not the best pick. But I could see this thing working really well. Good special attacker. And I think it pairs pretty nicely with the Sneasel. Even though the Sneasel really should be a better physical attacker. But, you know, maybe he wants a Sneasel. We'll see. We can see how this works.
Okay, so now we have the pony version of Pikachu. Okay, great attack. Again, I applaud that you got attackers on your team. Again, I'm still kind of redundant on the whole, let's pick Sneasel over Weavile. But anyway, great attacker. Its abilities Lightning Rod is going to do itself justice. Motor Drive, which if it gets hit with electric type moves, it's gonna raise its speed a hell of a lot. So that means it's gonna get more speed than it already has. It's not the best choice when it comes to health or best choice in defense, but it's a great choice in attack, so I applaud that.
I'm just relieved he's gone for a good, decent attack, special attack here. Nice work. Better electric type. Ampharos is on the board at this point. Should have gone for Ampharos, in my opinion. Good pick. Needed a really good attacker, really, because Bulk was there. Needed some infield for need before picking Fillers. Good lad, that's my boy.
Next, we got the New York Mets picking up Zygarde, 10%. This is one of the 2 Zygarde forms that are available. Of course, Complete is not available, so you can only run Aura Break. So you can't get the Construction boost and get a Zygarde Complete form and wreck teams because that's an Uber Pokemon and that's busted. So that's not happening. That's not available. But this thing, again, it's 4 times weak to Ice. I mean, you got a little bit of coverage for your team, I guess. You don't really have a Ground type. You don't really have a Dragon type. But this thing is not really the best thing in the world. So, yeah, we'll see what it's gonna happen here. I mean, I guess it kind of goes well with your theme of like filler Pokemon or whatever Dewey wants to call it. But sometimes you just need a good boy on your team, and this is that pick.
It looks like somebody poisoned this dog. Someone take it the way of Old Yeller. Yeah, Aura Break is not going to do it justice. If unless somebody took a Xerneas or a Yveltal. So, the best attacker on your team, congratulations. But let's see how the New York Mets run it.
I don't really know what to say about it.
You want to move?
Need a ground type. Not a great ground type at that. Could have been better, really. However, I will not dispute. I think that's got the right value for that Pokemon. I could have seen it going later, but took it later than earlier, which is better.
Next
Okay.
up is the Rhode Island Raticates taking Hitmontop. Top. So this thing, good fighting type.
Death again.
What?
Oh, guys.
Yes.
Oh, there we go.
I'm like, I can hear you. What are you doing? Hitmontop. Back to it. Good rapid spinner. Nice to have on your team.
Go.
For, I guess, Volcarona. I can see you built this pretty nicely around Volcarona. And that's really good to build your team around the first pick. Because your first pick is supposed to make an impact on your team. As one of my really good, not one of my really good friends, one of my people that I watch who's really good at competitive battle, especially in Draft League, is A-Drive. And he says your first pick should be your top killer or you're not doing something right. So having ways to help out your Volcarona by getting rid of hazards, which really detriment it, it's a really good pick. Good fighting type to have on the team. Average attack and defense. So it's pretty good. I think this would be fun to see. Probably good bang for your buck here. Maybe could have gone later in the draft. It's getting pretty late in the draft, so I guess you just pick what you need here. So I'd say this is a good Pokemon. Gives you nice type coverage.
I very much agree. Type coverage is amazing. Seeing as fit that it's mostly a fighting type, its abilities intimidate, gonna do you wonders. Seeing as fit that it reduces everyone's attack by a fair margin, and technician, it's gonna do you wonders. So best attack, best defense, but it can't be hit very much, so you need to watch out for him. But yeah, this is gonna cover Volcarona and definitely comfy. Hawaiian Clucky. So I guess this is an amazing choice, and otherwise, kind of lackluster team.
I wouldn't call it lackluster, to be honest. Like parts of a team, I will say the draft started very, very nicely, but then it's just fizzled out. Eradicates it. I like the pick of Hitmontop. Very nice supporter. There's another weakness to ice, though, which, as you mentioned, isn't great.
It's not weak to ice.
Hitmontop is.
Hitmontop's only weak to psychic and fighting. Psychic and flying.
Oh, I'm confused.
It's a pure fighting type. No, you're fine.
Yeah,
Till you done comes up again.
I've gone to
flying and the fairy.
It is 2:15 in the morning. Chewy's going to make mistakes.
Yes, we know. Mistakes are made.
I was born for starters.
Wow! What
Hey, you took what I was gonna say, but let's get going. Keep going.
Anyway, Kels, you take over. I've brought shame to myself.
All right, next pick is the Solgalios picking up a really stellar Pokemon in Lando T. My boy Calrissian making a comeback to a different team. I'm not excited to fight fight my little Lando buddy. It's a good Pokemon, but it's really easy to cover against. It's got a nice 4x weakness to ice, which is always fun. And it seems like everything's 4x weak to ice. But, it could be something that works really well. Mostly defensive, I would see, on this team. You have more of a physical attacking team. So, I can see you're running more defensive. But, again, this thing, you get hit with an ice-type move, it's gone. So, coverage on the rest of the teams, picking up ice-type moves, even hidden power ice, probably one-shots this thing. And, otherwise, it's a good pick. You just got to run it right, and you're going to know what your opponent's going to be bringing. So I want to see how he uses it. I thought I used it pretty well last year, but we'll see how it works this year, in this season.
Last year, it was used to a great effect. Its attacks are incredible, but thing is that this kind of like a knockoff Entei. in a way. I can kind of see, but it's weak to only a couple things. So water and ice. It's a bad thing to have. Thing is with that the two front runners for last year is using water and an ice type. So good luck, but its attack is incredible. So hope you use it mainly for your attack. It's a 2 a.m.
First and foremost, Hogleos, are you just going to be stealing former last season's team's heroes, Calzarin and now Infernape, Kazglu and Calzarin? Did it twice now. I'm watching you.
Trust you. Syria, not Calrissian. Calrissian is a character from Star Wars.
I know it's Lando too. I was going for your nickname, by the way.
I like the nickname.
Yes, I know you do. Anyway, nice pick. You think Chaos did have his eyes on it, no matter what he says.
I think he did. Actually.
Oh, really?
Nope. I don't. As I try to use Pokemon I haven't used before, and Lando was something I used a lot last season and the first season. So, not something I wanted to bring back. I actually don't think I used it last season. I used it a lot first season.
He definitely has his eyes on it, no matter what he says.
No, I didn't.
Who said that?
How close are you to your mic that you sound like?
What you guys didn't know is that this is an ASMR stream. Welcome to the stream, guys. Thanks for coming out.
Thanks for coming out, guys.
Is okay. Let's move on to the next pick.
Buffalo Bill, please get the hell away from your mic.
Next, we have the Derby Dawn fans picking up Ampharos. I really want to that they can't spell their own city's name because it's actually pronounced Derby, but they don't know that. They could have picked a really good Mega here, but they chose to get Mega Alakazam earlier on. This thing could be really cool for their team. Gives them some really cool coverage and like a nice electric type. It's also got like Power Gem for rock type coverage. This thing could be really good, but it also could be really bad. It's pretty slow, so that would be something to take a look at. Maybe a good pick. We'll see how it runs, but it could really benefit from the rain. So that is something to look at. Damien, would you like to comment?
Yes, if you please get away from your mic.
You don't like the ASMR, man?
Oh my god.
Ampharos is a really good choice on an otherwise water-heavy team, but its ability static is going to do its wonders. Thing is that it can't be hit while someone's getting paralyzed, and it's gonna take a lot to take this Pokemon out. But I would have gone with Mega Ampharos rather than Ampharos himself. Just in my opinion, seeing is that Mega Ampharos has twice his stats, but lesser speed. But Ampharos is not going to need that.
Yeah. One of the reasons I picked Ampharos is the water types is so they can bounce off each other. Rain Dance Thunder, that's 100% going to hit. So I think that's one of the reasons I've gone for my stupid tactic, which even I look back and go and regret it. However, I like Ampharos. I think Power Gem, as you said, is good coverage. Filled a need. I need an elite need. I really needed an electric type, so I took one. Hashtag ASMR channel.
You guys are killing my ears.
Sorry, I don't do it anymore. I posted that in chat. But let's move on. We got the Virginia Cavaliers picking up Nidoqueen. Okay, so honestly here, I just needed another Tier 3 Mon to fulfill my draft requirements. So that's a lot of the reason why I picked up Nidoqueen.
Was this a need / filler all in one?
It was both. Yes.
Ooh,
but Nidoqueen was actually something I picked up in Season 1. Something I traded away like week 3. So
I think it was me.
I never used it, but I wanted to use it this season. It's got good. Wow, I can't talk. It's good for hazards. I like it for that. It's also pretty powerful and good defensively. I know I do seem to have a weakness to a certain typing here, and might not be good against a certain someone who has a lot of those types. But we have a way around that coming up later in the draft. So I'm not too worried about it, but I really like this pick. Gives me a nice poison type to deal with the fairy types. And Nidoqueen is overall just a good Pokemon in general. And I like it as a Tier 3 pick. So I think it's a good pick for me. Good for the team.
If I could put my own little thing in here,
You can't.
this Pokemon looks very, very weird. Um,
Don't judge.
but anyway, in any case, Nidoqueen has always been a very good Pokemon. I've used it during my days as a Pokemon TCG card player, and it's great. It's always been great with attacks. It's great with its health, so it's always been a good tank, but it's never been that well off when it's taking massive amounts of damage. Its ability Poison Point is going to probably come in handy if you decide to use that. And going along with everything else, I can't say there's very much anything else wrong with it. It's just good all overall.
I mean, I think the team Chaos was referring to that could whoop his candy backside. Maybe hashtag rain team.
I got countered. I'm not worried.
Hashtag, oh god.
Which, once again, I will make it merchandise. Hashtag official PDL Season 3 merchandise store over here. Anyway, let's get to actual pick. I actually quite like this pick. Once again, I think I used it. I think you traded it to me in Season 1. And I used it horribly, if I remember. I know it can be used well. I just don't... With your team, and I know you had to pick a filler need here. It was like, I can't use my catchphrase here, which I've garnered in this recording, which is really irritating. Good work. Don't see... I think there could have been other T3s you could have picked, but I do see why you took it.
Okay. Now my next pick, we have Mega Gyarados. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. Boys, this is it. This is the guy I've been waiting for. I actually wanted this thing from the very beginning. I knew it was my Mega Evolution going into this draft. And I was really scared that someone would pick it because it's a really cool Pokemon. And I'm so excited to use it. Gyarados by itself actually wrecks pretty nicely, except against electric types. But, you know, that's something that could be fun to see. And with Nutmega evolving first turn, this could be something that works out really well too, because Fairy type, someone might try to use a Fairy type move, and guess what? I don't have a weakness to it if I'm not Mega evolved. So this thing can set up with Dragon Dance, got a lot of cool moves, really powerful, can be physical. I've seen a special Gyarados before, so you might see it come special once or twice, but this is going to be fun for me to use, and I'm really excited to use it. So,
I'm sorry, I'm writing something very mean in the chat. But anyway, Mega Gyarados at the all I can see is it's great in attack, great defense, has a lot of health. It's not great in speed, but it more than makes up for it in attack. Its abilities, it's gonna do it very well. And water and dark type, you can't go wrong with this. I gotta say, Chaos, you chose a golden one here.
I did. Actually, it's a red when it's shiny. Sorry. Magikarp is gold, though. So it's close.
Yeah. My opinion on this pick is a good pick, well done. Sorry, Chaos, I can't stop laughing. I had some Pringles next to me and it was so tempting just to eat them. I'm starving. It's 2:30 in the morning. Alright. Okay, so I'll talk about it. Good pick on Gyarados. I would say Mega is a brilliant pick. You can cause damage, and it haven't got. Don't think a lot of teams have a counter to Gyarados or a direct one. I think playing Gyarados, obviously, I have an Ampharos and somebody's got Galvantula. Not Gyarados, I have an Ampharos. But Mega Gyarados, I can't think of anyone that would have it except for a Fairy type. I don't think many people have got Fairy type except for Comfey. So good pick. Good work.
Next up, we go to the Darby Dawn fans and a Alolan Sandslash. As I said, I really like this Pokemon in general. I think it's really low tier, honestly. I think it can put in some work. Of course, any good Pokemon has 4 times super effective weaknesses, and this thing, it's got 2 of them. And that's why I prefer not to use it. Because it's weak to fire, which is a really common type, and it's also weak to fighting, which is another really common type. And if you look at your team, that gives you 2 Pokemon weak to fighting, and I know fire types probably won't come. Might not come against this team. Especially since it's water rain Pokemon, but still, this thing could put in some work and also gets a nice boost if it gets like Sword Dance or something up. So it could be good.
What can I say? It's a great attack in defense, but everywhere else it's kind of lacking. And yes, I do agree with Chaos here that it's extremely susceptible to fire attacks, which is one of the common Pokemon that a lot of people are going to be using, like a certain somebody with a certain fire cat,
or maybe a certain fire monkey that too you might want.
Hashtag on fire Harambe.
Do not talk about Captain. Do not talk about Infernape like that. Infernape wouldn't betray me.
He's got up with this Pokemon. Hey, you mind explaining your ice Pokemon here?
The reason I went for Sunslash is I've always really wanted to use one, and I went on theory: if you bring a fire type against my 3 water types, you are an idiot.
You know, maybe that's a strat.
Right on with Comfy. Let me use him as a let me use you as a shield. Okay, you're dead. Let me attack this fire type.
Yep. This is Virginia. My team
I
is...
can just see. I'm sorry. I can just see Blastoise. I can see Blastoise holding up Sandslash saying, "Hit him." I'm not.
Do you got anything else to add to this?
My team is the meme team.
Is it the meme team or is it the bad team? Because I think it's the bad team.
The meme team.
The losing team? Okay. Moving on, though, we have the Solgalias picking an utterly bad Pokemon in Miltank. Pardon the pun. It was intended. I hate Miltank. I always hate Miltank. It's one of my least favorite Pokemon. Yep. Thank you, Whitney, for ruining this Pokemon for everybody. I mean, if you weren't past its udders, then maybe. But enough roasting Miltank. This thing actually is pretty good. It's got really good moves, as Whitney has shown us in the past, even at a low level. So, I'm going to put in some work. Body Slam would be nice to get some paras. Can run Rollout, although I don't know why you would do that, because that's kind of setting up for a really bad result. But, good run. It's got other good coverage. Again, normal types are pretty good, and I think this works well with the team. Gives him a nice normal type to have, and something that I believe it gets thick fat as well, and good recovery. So it could be,
yes, it does.
It could be a fun thing to have, and I would like to see it used, preferably not against me. So I don't have to look at how ugly it is. Damien.
Also, shaking this.
I'm looking at this Pokemon, and my head is starting to hurt from the many times I had to fight Whitney. And I swear, if Solgalios, if you're gonna use the move I'm thinking you're using, I'm gonna have to sit here and I'm gonna have Vietnam flashbacks of fighting Whitney's Miltank. But it's a great addition, seeing as fit that you went back to the defensive with this. But Body Slam's going to do you justice. It does have thick fat and scrappy, so I'm going to get off this Pokemon before I start screaming bloody murder at Whitney.
Yeah, I'm having the same flashbacks from my Heart Gold Nuzlocke where Whitney killed me Nidorino. Anywho, my problem with this Miltank is you've gone back to... It's not actually... No, it's going to change the point. It's a bulky Pokemon, which is good. Rollout is good, but could cause issues as you're locked into it. It's bulky. Body Slam, that's good. You can set up things with it. Overall, decent. Very bulky. Just do not dare bring it against me.
I can hear Tui. Oh, I already hear Tui now. Why? Stop! No!
There you go.
I think really Solgalios wanted Snorlax here. I think Miltank is like a really cheap Snorlax, so that could be something.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a filler for that. But moving on, we have the Rhode Island Raticates taking everyone's favorite water spider in Araquanid. One of the hardest totem Pokemon to ever battle in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Bless to those who fought it. This thing actually is pretty cool. I like its design. I don't know what else to say about it, really. Bug Stab is going to be nice. Lunge, awesome for a nice priority hit right off the gate. I do believe it has access to like Aqua Jet for another priority. Liquidation is going to be really powerful as well, and then Leech Life to get HP back. It also has other moves it can run as well, but that's primarily what you see with Arachnid. So this thing could work really well. I think it's good to get a water type here. You finally finished out your Fire Water Grass Core. Maybe not the best thing to fit into it because you do have 2 bug types in that rotation, but I still think it's a good Pokemon. Maybe not the best pick for your water type, but it's still good.
Think it's that there's not many other water type Pokemon that you could grab. Tui. There's not much I can say about Araquanid. I'm guessing based on what Chaos had to say about him, it's basically a very hard Pokemon to kill. But thing its defensive stats are pretty high, so it's a special defense. But not much else is pretty high in that category. So I'm hoping you know what you're doing with that.
I don't really have much more to add to that, really.
Shall we move on?
Indeed.
Okay, we got the New York Mets picking up my boy Cresselia, my Moonduck. This thing is a good pick. This is probably, out of all his picks, I say this is probably one of the best ones. This is the best one so far in the draft by far. Cresselia is an absolute tank. Really good special defense and really good defense. Also can hit pretty hard. Also gets access to like Calm Mind to set up. So this thing can be really hard to wear down. Toxic is probably one of your best bets with this, but you got to worry about the 2 poison types on the team as well. So this thing can really put some wear and tear on a team. I should know. I've used it before. It's a really good Pokemon, and I really like it. So I'd say this is a really good pick. I'm surprised it lasted this long in the draft, honestly, but it's still really good, and I hope you use it well.
Chaos, I'm going to have to level one thing against you. It's kind of petty, but you called it your boy, but it's 100% a female in every aspect.
Oh,
so,
Crimea River. It's still my boy.
Hey, I'm supposed to be the statistician. Leave me alone. Its abilities, Levitate, is going to also help it. So, thing I said that not most of your team, but a lot of teams seem to have the ability to levitate, so guess everyone's going for that this season. But its stats are incredible. Yes, Chaos has used this to great effect in the past, so depending on how you run this Pokemon, you're going to do a lot of work on another team, so run it right, and it looks like you got a winner on your team.
My opinion on this pick is I don't really know much about Cresselia.
You should.
Should know more. I don't really know what to say at this point. It filled a need, didn't have a psychic type before. Yeah. Close enough. Really know what to say.
Okay.
He's working on half brain power.
Alright, moving on. We got the Scarlet Strikers picking up a really good pick in Kingdra here. Really cool Pokemon. I really like this thing because its typing is really quite phenomenal. Not really weak to anything except for Fairy. So that really makes it really hard to come in with something. Also, it's a nice bruiser. It's a nice low tier. Nice bang for your buck. A really nice niche pick here. Really could counter a lot of things. Or maybe a rain dance team. That would be something that counters pretty well. It works well on that. Also got some really cool abilities like Sniper. Swift Swim, obviously, as I mentioned, and it's got really good coverage on it as well. I think Kingdra is a great pick to have on this team. I'm not sure why Red and Wash was picked, honestly, if it was there. So, yeah, I don't think you really need Road and Wash if you have Kingdra, honestly, but it's still a good pick, and I think it works well.
All right, this I could say is a winner Kingdra, Water Dragon type Pokemon. You can't go wrong with Kingdra. It has great stats all across the board. Sniper, really good ability, and also its other ability, Swift Swim, which too, you might want to hold back on the rain with this team. So let's not. Its ability, sort of like Hydro Pump, is going to do a lot of damage coming in, and something like Dragon Pulse, which a lot of people are susceptible to as well, which not a lot of people have a affinity to Dragon types. There's not a lot of people with a weakness to Dragon types as well. So you got a winner there, my friend. Go on with that, Joe.
With this pick, he's got Swift Swim, obviously, so which shuts down my rain team a little bit because obviously Kingdra gets ice. I do agree with the Rotom, how Rotom was Kingdra was there. Why did they take Rotom? Wash could have got a different form of Rotom. Bit of a wasted pick there. However, I think this is great value for how late the draft. I'm surprised it stayed that long. To be honest, I am quite surprised. I'll see you all soon. I am falling asleep.
It's late for Chewy, so he's going to drop out from this.
2:40 a.m.
Yeah, from this stream. So we thank you for coming out, Chewy. Glad to have you. We'll see you in a couple matches later on in the season. So make sure you check him out. It's in the description below. See you, man.
Goodbye.
All right. Yeah. Moving on, we got another pick from Scarlet Strikers and Decidueye. Now, Decidueye is probably my favorite starter by design-wise in Generation 7. Spirit Shackle is a cool move. Not really sure what you want to trap in here. Gives you a nice physical attacker, which is something you really have been lacking. So, really good picks here with this wheelhouse. Getting a Kingdra and a Decidueye, two really good attackers, and two pretty good Mons. The only thing is I'm not worried about its speed and if it can take a hit to even get a hit off. Sucker Punch is probably going to be one of your better options here on this Pokemon to take some damage on your opponent. And it might be good to bring it against like a Psychic type or something like that. So it's a decent pick. I'm not sure it was the best idea. Grass types really aren't that useful, but it's decent.
Decidueye, which is basically an emo Noctowl. But seeing as that it's a great attacker, which yes, I agree, it was very lacking. Special attack and special defense also on point. It's not going to take very many hits, seeing that its defense is very low and so is its health. But it very much makes up for an attack and its own special moves. So basically, that's what you need for grass types. Overgrow, which is his ability, is going to also bump up the power of his grass type moves. So a lot of those are going to be very deadly. So I would say watch out for it. I'd say you got a winner here, seeing it's right that you needed a great attacker.
Moving on, we got the New York Mets picking up Mega Lopunny. This thing is absolutely terrifying. Honestly, it's really probably one of the best megas you can get in the tier. So I'd say it's a good pick. Scrappy, wonderful ability, taking on a lot of things and also making it so you can't switch in a ghost type to take a high jump kick because it's not immune to it anymore because of Scrappy. So this thing really makes you consider what you want to do to fight it. Maybe like a Scarf to come against it. But this thing just packs a powerful punch. It's a really good Pokemon. So something to definitely watch out for. Probably your best attacker on the team. So that's what I got to say about that thing. Looking like some good picks here late on for the New York Mets.
Yeah, I agree. And looking at the New York Mets team, this looks like its only great attacker. Other than, well, a couple of notable exceptions, but this is going to be your main attacker. Yes, it does have Scrappy, which is going to enable it to hit goals. So a couple of those, so sort of like mismatches, would probably do it on justice. Some of his moves are gonna do really good. So Bat and Patch will get it out of there really quickly if you're gonna go with that route. High jump kick is gonna do a lot of damage. So this is just gonna look like an all around butt kicker, if you ask me.
Next up, we got the Rhode Island Raticates picking Umbreon. Okay, this thing is really tanky and really good. A nice Stallmon. We've seen it used previous seasons, but its set is pretty easy to figure out. Really good physical defense. So a special attacker, especially like a fighting type or a fairy type, would be really good to throw on your team here. You got to watch out for Toxic. It's one of its signature moves because what else would you put on Umbreon? It's really bulky. It's good defensive mon. Toxic is its best stall move. So Toxic, Protect, Moonlight, and Foul Play probably your set here. It's a decent mon. I've seen this thing be pretty bulky and take on a lot of teams. But if you play it right, you can easily take this thing out. So it's a good pick. Gives you a nice defensive mon with more of an attacking team. But I'm not really sure why it pairs with Alolan Persian. I don't know why you picked both. Maybe one was physical, maybe one's an attacker and one's a defender. That could be your set there, but 2 dark types is not maybe the best thing to do on your team. But it's still a really good pick, and Umbreon has always been a really good Pokemon competitive, especially in lower tiers.
This is also one of my favorite Pokemon. Next to my Mew. I love Mew, but Umbreon is a great all-around Pokemon, great in defense. It couldn't be a great attacker. It is a straight tank. And also its ability Synchronize will also be like, let's say it gets a burn. The other Pokemon also gets that same condition too, so hoping that you're now focusing more on status effects than anything else. So its moves are going to do way more to everything else, and seeing as with that it's only susceptible to a couple different. It's going to be very hard to take out.
Moving on, we got the Solgalios taking my least favorite Mega of all time in Mega Sableye, and I really hate this thing. I like Sableye's Pokemon, but this thing is I just think this thing is busted. It's really good, and that's why I don't like it. Fairy type is really the only thing you want to bring against it. So good Fairy type. This thing blocks Hazard Setters with its Magic Bounce ability. It's also got some nice cheeky stuff to go on the back. A lot of hacks to hit you with. It's pretty powerful as well. Can set up with Calm Mind. It's pretty much a jack of all trades. It's a really good Mega, and surprised it actually lasted this long in the draft. It's a really good pick. So it could be something that would really not want to see a Mega Lopunny or a scrappy Pokemon at all, but this thing could really put in some work and is a really good addition to this team.
I very much agree, but this is not going to be like a main standout Pokemon. Yes, it's a great thing, seeing as that any status changes with its Magic Bounce ability. You can't change its status. You will not be able to affect any status effects on this Pokemon. But it's not good in health. One solid blow, it's gonna be taken out. So it's gonna be best as a let's reflect something at someone else. So I can't say this is the best Pokemon to go with.
Next up, we have actually the Virginia Escavaliers. This point in the draft, we did a lot of trading between me and Tui. He's not here to tell you about this, but we actually traded my last 2 picks for his picks in these 2 rounds. So we both got 4 picks straight in a row. So this will be me picking 4 times in a row, and I had a lot of things I wanted here. One of them being a Alolan Muck. I used it before, not very effectively, but it's something I really wanted on the team. It gives me a really cool Poison and Dark type. I was really lacking something like this to work a nice defensive Pokemon. It gives me a nice special defense of Pokemon, and it's really only going to take ground attacks super effectively. So it gives me really nice coverage on my team. I don't really care for the design at all, but we'll see how we run it this season. It could be a really good powerhouse. It also could be really good as my wall that I'm going to bring in against maybe like a Mega Lopunny or something like that to stall it out and ultimately secure a victory. So I really like this Pokemon, and I hope to use it a lot better than I have in the past.
I'm hoping you do too, seeing as with that this is a great Pokemon. Great in mostly every category. So health, attack, it's pretty good in defense. Not greatest, but great in a general sense. And Poison Touch is going to do of affecting to everyone else around you. So let's say a physical attack. Let me attack you and get poisoned. It's going to take me out of the running very quickly. So let's hope you run this more better than you have in other seasons.
My second pick of 4, we take up Medicham. This is something I saw worked really well last season for one of our coaches, and I wanted to use it as soon as I saw him use it. It was one of the things I really struggled with his team. It's a really powerhouse with huge power or pure power, whichever one it gets. So I'm really, really excited to get to use it for my team, and I'm hoping it puts in a lot of work for my team, gives me a nice physical attacker there on the end of the draft. I do have a lot of physical attackers on the team, but I do have some good specials as well, and you'll see another one coming up very, very soon, I believe. And I'm really excited to use this thing for the first time and maybe try to run the table with it. So let's see what we got. Good pick late on for me.
Metacham. I could see why you would run the Pokemon, but in other cases, if I don't know where you were going with it, but I would have took Mega Metacham for something like attack and. But I can kind of see where you're going with that, but I also don't see like the full, reasoning behind Metacham. So I have not much to say in that regard.
All right, gonna move on to my final Pokemon of the pick, and I picked up the Absol. Something I really wanted to use again. A low tier 5, finishing out my team. I had another Pokemon here I wanted to add, but I figured this would be a better choice. The other Pokemon was pretty much covered by another thing I have on the team. So I wanted to add this. I know I have a lot of dark types, and I know I have a lot of ground weaknesses, but I have ways to counter that. So I'm hoping that this team works out really well. Absol is pretty powerful and also gets some really nice moves. It's going to be good for a knockoffer with stab on it. So see it in very niche situations, and I think it's going to be a very uncommon bring to my team, but it is something that's going to cause some teams some problems here on late in the rounds, which is what I'm really excited about. So, Damien, go.
Absol. I would have went with the Mega version, but it is a great attacker. It's devastating in its attack, and also the ability something like pressure will also help you out in the long run. So if something is being drawn out, you're not going to be using a lot of points that you need to do all your attacks that you need. So I would suggest this is actually a great choice.
And with my final pick for this season, we actually have to choose Z Crystal. So I ended up picking Titanium Z. I think it was a good pick from my team. It gives me some nice coverage. A lot of Pokemon on my team have access to fighting type moves, so it could be run really, really well. Of course, Lucario and Metacham really good benefit from this Z Crystal, giving them a nice stab power move, and I can run things like Focus Punch with Titanium Z with stab, making it around a 200 or 300 base power move, hitting something really hard like a truck, as long as it's not a ghost type. So I really like the Z Crystal for me. So Damien, Z Crystals, have fun.
I don't know very much about the Fight Crystal, seeing as that when I was doing all my stuff way back when, these things weren't very readily available or not even in existence. But Titanium Z is going to do very well for a couple of different Pokemon in your team, but it's not going to do you very well with the others. So I would have went with something that had a wider range, but I can see kind of why you're gonna go with this one. So I like it.
Okay, moving on, we got the Solgaleo picking up Cryogonal. Honestly, I've never seen this thing used, and I don't understand why it was picked. It's pretty lackluster in a Pokemon. I guess a tier 5 pick that is okay. Not really sure why it's here. It's probably not going to come a lot. Honestly, it might just be like, oh, I need an ice type to deal with some ground types or dragon types. So, Cryogonal, let's go, sure. But this thing could work decently, I guess. I'm interested to see how it runs, and maybe not the best pick in the world, but it's okay. It's good to have an ice type.
Yeah, you could have picked any other ice type to go with this one. So all I gotta say is, I hope you know what you're doing. I hope you do.
Next up.
Next.
Oh, you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Next up, we have the Rhode Island Raticates picking Toxicroak, and I really like Toxicroak. It's a really cool Pokemon, except that it's 4 times weak to Psychic. That's the only problem I have with it. It probably runs Dry Skin, which is a nice way to counter Water types, which, you're not really weak to, so maybe that doesn't come, but Anticipation's kind of a bad move, bad ability, so not really the best thing there. But if you do run Dry Skin, it does give you another Fire type weakness, and you're pretty weak to Fire. Honestly, it's probably one of your most common weaknesses on your team, but it's still a really cool Pokemon. It hits pretty hard, and it gives you a nice Poison type to deal with some of those fairies. Although it is neutral against the attacks, so maybe not the best thing in the world, but it's still a really cool Pokemon. I'm interested to see how it is run this season.
I kind of already feel bad that Brock is not a real person. Thing is with that he would probably fear this Pokemon, but great attacker. It's great poison and a great fighting type, I guess. You're gonna be pretty good against flying, psychic, and ground, but not much else. So again, I hope you know.
Next up, we have the New York Mets picking up Sylveon. Now, Sylveon is probably one of the best fairy types out there, especially in competitive. Pixelate, I believe it's its ability, so it gives really nice moves for it to use, nice power behind moves. It's a nice pick for the team, saying you don't have a fairy type, but Sylveon can be taken down fairly easy, and that was not a pun I was hoping to make, but it can be taken down pretty easy.
Oh God!
And honestly, it's a good pick, but maybe not for this team. It's a good pick. I just don't see it working well. It doesn't really match well with anything else on your team. Maybe Mega Lopunny at best, but other than that, it doesn't really fit the team too well.
I don't know about this pick, even though that underneath those eyes are the eyes of a fucking demon. Sorry. I know this is a Christian server. But Cresselia basically fills out Sylveon's basically his whole thing here is not good. Cresselia does the exact same thing as Sylveon, but a little bit more better. It's great with HP, but not much else. Plus, the event's pretty good. But I don't see much of the point for this Pokemon.
Next up, Scarlet Striker's picking out Magmortar. Okay, Fire type. It's nice to have a Fire type. It's a good pick, I guess. It's got good coverage. Electric type moves. I think it gets Shadow Ball. It's good special attack or something. You really have in Kingdra, and it really pairs nicely with Kingdra. Your last 3 picks make a nice Fire, Water, Grass core, so that's a nice thing to grab late on in the draft. Something you might want to start with, actually, but it's nice to have late on in the draft as well. So, really good pick, I'd say, for the team. Matches well with those last 2 picks, and even Theraflorn or Rotom Wash. But we'll see how it runs. It's not really the best Fire type out there, but it does its job, I think. So I think this is a good pick.
I really much agree. This isn't the best Fire type you could have gotten, but it's relatively good compared to the others. Seeing as that is really good with attack, great with special attack, which Fire types do really, pride itself on. You're gonna need the special attack to do anything with it. Its ability, Flame Body, will also burn a good amount of players. Seeing as that a lot of some of the other Pokemon that was picked do rely on physical attacks to get in close and attack him. So they're gonna get burned. So I'm guessing I can see why they went with Magmortar. But again, there could have been a better choice you would have gotten with.
And with their wheelhouse pick, they also pick up Mega Altaria, one of the best Megas. Again, it's a really good Mega. I actually looked at this thing. But this thing is pretty good. Pixelate, great ability. Makes it not 4 times weak to Ice now because it's a Fairy type as well. Gives him a nice Fairy type to have on the team. Pairs really well with that Kingdra there and the Skarmory or the Ferrothorn even. So I think it was a really good pick, a nice Mega to take, and also really powerful Pokemon as well. So I'd say this is probably a really great pick for the team. Probably will put in some nice work, and I'm not really excited to fight this thing.
Yeah, I do agree. This thing is a beast. It also looks like it shrinks in a wash, but even though we have a washer on their team, so someone stick this thing in a rotom. But I kind of see a contradictory here, and if you don't mind, its ability Pixelate, which causes its normal type attacks against it to be kind of used as fairy typings, which it's susceptible to by a 2-time Spectre, I believe. So it's gonna get hit pretty hard if you have a normal type.
Actually, what the ability does, Damien, just so you're clear and you don't look foolish, the ability makes the normal type moves it uses fairy type.
Okay, I might have said that. I might have seen. So my bad. My bad. Dragon is stupid sometimes too.
It's okay.
But in another case, it's an all around take of Pokemon. So you got a good one in your hands. I would say use it to a good effect.
New York Mets picks up the Oricorio forms as their next pick. We saw this work fun last season with Tui. One of the good things about this team is now that you have a lot of things that are really question marks coming into the game. It could be electric flying, it could be fire flying, it could be psychic flying, it could be ghost flying. Another ghost type. Woohoo. But this thing got a lot of ways to come into the game. Savali also great pairing with those two. They work really well together. I guess you have a fire, water, grass core if you count grass Savali with Vaporeon and fire Oricorio. Could be something. But I'm interested to see how this is used. Pretty glass cannon-y, if I do have to say so myself. But it could be beneficial. It could work really well. We'll just have to see.
Why does this Pokemon look like it's about to say hold my earrings, but when it's about Oricorio, what can I say about Oricorio? Yeah, it's a glass cannon. It's not gonna do much. It's gonna hit hard once, but it looks like it's gonna shatter to any other Pokemon. So seeing as that Tui's running a mostly water type team, this is not the best choice you could.
Next up, Tui's pick actually got actually we're not there yet. Rodon the Raticate's pick up Slurpuff and another fairy type on the team. Very interesting pick here. I really don't like Slurpuff. I don't like the fairy typing in general, really. But this thing could work decently, I guess. Belly Drum is probably your likely go-to, but again, not the best stats unless you run Assault Vest, and then you can't run Belly Drum. And so this thing really depends on you getting a good prediction off. So good luck with that this season, and hopefully that works well for you.
Well, this Pokemon looks like it belongs in a special classroom. Oh, I haven't really seen Slurpuff. I heard it looks really stupid, but I'm just seeing this for the first time, and it looks like it belongs at the back of the short bus. And looking at its stats, it looks like it belongs there too. I don't know where you're going with this. All I gotta say is this is the most stupidly designed Pokemon that is not Trubbish.
I hear that Pokemon's trash. But moving on, we got the Solgalios. Solgalios picking up Kecleon. Kecleon's fun. Also can be very detrimental. Protean is definitely your go-to ability here. You don't want color change because your opponent can take a great advantage with that. Protean also can be taken advantage of, especially if you get the set memorized or if you figure out what kind of set would come with the team. So this thing, maybe not the best thing, a good tier 5 at best. Not really anything else to use for it. And, I mean, you're going to get stabbed on all your moves if you use Protean, so that could be fun.
I'm kind of upset that you had to say Kekuran is very fun. I was about to say, do you have personal experience with that? But yeah, coaching. I was about to say, you must have had long nights with this thing. But Kekuran, not the best Pokemon to use. It's a good tier 5. It's great attack. Not much else. And lackluster in speed. Don't know where you're going with this, so I'm hoping you have an idea.
I mean, I guess I could see a choice scarf set coming. That could be something. But other than that, we got to go to the Derby Dawn fans, who get 4 picks in a row here as well, and they pick up their mascot, the Dawn fan. Icicle Spear is a really good priority move for this thing. Ground type is something he didn't really have on the team. It's something that works pretty well. This thing is actually pretty bulky, especially if you run Assault Vest on it. So max out with attack moves. Maybe it could be even used as a stealth rocker. I mean, you don't really have any hazard setters besides this thing as of now. So it's probably a good hazard setter to use, and that's probably... Well, I know the reason he picked it was because it's his mascot and he wanted to use it. So maybe not the best reason to pick it, but it's still a decent Pokemon to use.
Dawn fan, its stats are pretty well laid out for you. Its ability sturdy is going to take it from getting one hit KO'd, or, it's going to stop at a certain degree. Its attack and defense is pretty good. Everything else kind of seems like it's lacking in, but yeah, this is seeming like one of Tui's things where I like it. Let me see it.
Alright, next pickup, he takes Dragonite here. Dragonite was something I actually wanted to grab, but again, I just didn't have the spot for it on my team. Gives him another Dragon, another Flying type, another 4 times weak Ice type, as we've talked about in the past, making a couple of his team members weak to Ice, but he does have Water types to counter that, I guess. So, Maso menos que. This thing is pretty cool. Multi-scale is a great ability to have. Make those hits from full, take less damage, which could make Dragonite have a little bit of staying power, maybe survive a hit, and also fire back with a nice coverage that it has.
Well, I could say this is one of the better picks that Tui has made. Dragonite is an incredible Pokemon. Great health, a lot of attack power, great staying power, so defense is great. Special attack and special defense are way up there. Its ability, multi-scale, is going to help you, so let's hope that he runs that right. So something like, Hyper Beam is also going to be one of its best friends. And something like Dragon Breath or, Dragon Dance, depending on how he wants to run this hook, will also do it justice. So I'm hoping Tui, has thought process to use that.
Yeah, and as you sort of alluded to, it's like a mixed attacker, so it can run either physical or special. So that's something else that's really good for it.
Yeah.
The next pick up was the Magnezone, actually. A really cool pick in Tier 1. 4 times weak to ground, though. As we have mentioned, that's not the best thing in the world. But with this team, I guess, of water types, a ground type probably is not the best thing to bring. Although you do have good use for it against Sand Slash, because it's Steel type. You have use for it against Ampharos as well as Magnezone. So, I mean, maybe a ground type might come. Could be something to see. But this thing actually is really slow and actually really works well under Trick Room. Also has a nice move that if it moves last, it gets boosted. So this thing could run really well. And then Recycle Berries is a nice, fun little set to run on this thing. So we can see that coming as well.
I can see this being a very dangerous Pokemon for some people, seeing as that some Pokemon are running a dual Steel type as well. So, this Magnezone's ability is one of its abilities is Magnet Pull. So, making sure that no Steel type gets out of the battle. So, it's gonna be very dangerous. It's gonna be a very dangerous game for people to play with this Pokemon. Also, using things like Thunder Shock, Electro Ball, Discharge, Zap Cannon. It's gonna be heck to pay for any skill type. So, for those of you that are running skill types, please watch out for Magnezone.
Dewey finishes off his draft with a nice pick of Dragonium Z. It makes sense that he picks this one up, actually. Really would benefit with Goodra and Dragonite. Other than that, not much that would like to use it. I don't see a whole lot. Maybe something with like a Dragon Pulse on Ampharos, since it's not a Mega. That could be something we see. I'm not really sure what else would want to use this thing. Maybe not the best Z Crystal to use. It could have been something better. Maybe Waterium Z would be a good one to have on your team. Or maybe even like Firenium Z to benefit like things like Dragonite, Goodra, or even your Talonflame that would take a lot of damage from recoil.
Pretty much. Dragonium Z. It also doesn't it also allow for the use of Devastating Drake.
That is the Z move, yes.
Okay, and so I can see why. So Dragonite, Talonflame will also be like something that it will also try to cover, and Goodra will also be something that it will be used to great effect. So I think Tui thought ahead with this pick.
For once in his life. Moving on. So Gallios are going to pick up Rockinium Z. Really cool Z Crystal. Probably one of the better ones to grab. Could be seeing on something like a Stone Edge on Infernape. Something with Kecleon as well. You got Stone Edge on Landorus T if you want to run offensive. Could really benefit the Barbaracle. I think this really works out for his team. A lot of his Pokemon get access to Rock-type moves. And Rock-type is actually a really good type to have a Z-Crystal with. Because there's not many things that resist it. So it's a really good Z-Crystal, I think. And a good pick for the team.
Seeing as fit that most of his team are in use for Rock-type moves. So something like Landorus is going to be very dangerous. Thing Kecleon will be using it to great effect. And all I can say all around, it's a great item to have, seeing as that it covers a good amount of your heavy hitters that you plan to use.
Yeah, I would say so too. Next up, we got Buginium Z on Rhode Island Raticates. A fun one to use. Obviously, this is probably going to benefit a lot on Volcarona. It's a really good Z Crystal to have. It gives it nice power on something like a Bug Buzz that would be boosted to almost a 200 base stat move. Other things can use it as well, like maybe like Lunge on Araquanid. If you want to try it, you could use it on Fortress. I think U-turn would be something you could see a Buginium Z. Maybe that would go on Tornadus down there. I think it's Tornadus. No, it's Thundurus. It's Thundurus. Thundurus Incarnate. Sorry, guys. It's Thundurus Incarnate. It could be on Thundurus. And I think Umbreon also gets a Bug-type move as well. So it's a decent Z Crystal. I think it might. No, that's Jolteon that got Signal Beam. Never mind. So this could be a good Z Crystal to have on the team. Something else might have been more beneficial. I think Rockinium Z would have worked really good for the team. So you would take away the weaknesses to like your Thundurus and your Volcarona there. But, you know, that was already taken last round. So maybe you just missed out on the Rockinium Z. And Buginium Z is not a bad pick.
I mean, yeah, it's not a bad pick. And with Buginium Z, you also get Savage Spin Out. So that's probably going to help with a good amount of the attacks that you're going to be. But it does limit your full set. So Volcarona, Araquanid, and maybe Fortress would be able to be helped by this. But I would say like Rockinium, you're going to want something like to span a good amount of your team, not just a few key points.
Next up, we take the New York Mets picking up Ghostinium Z. I wonder why this was picked. It's not like you have like a crap ton of ghost types on your team or anything like that. So beneficiaries of this, I doubt Porygon comes with it. It could use it with Shadow Ball, but I doubt that comes with Ghostinium Z. You're probably going to most likely see this on. I really don't know what you're going to see this on. I don't really like the Z Crystal pick at all. It works well with Gengar and Mimikyu. It works really well with the Ghost form of Oricorio. So that's probably the best place for it to run on Oricorio. But other than that, it's not really the best Z Crystal to pick. I would have done something else. Maybe like Poison EMZ would work well with Salazzle and Gengar. And also other things like... I actually don't know what else has Poison moves. So... Poison EMZ would
I think Zygarde has.
So,
doesn't Zygarde have after?
Yeah. But I think another Z Crystal would have been better for this team. You have a lot of ghost coverage. You don't need to boost it. So not really the best Z Crystal you could have picked. But I really don't know what else you would have grabbed. Maybe Normalium Z or something like that. I don't know.
Probably. Let's see. Ghostinium Z. Yeah, I agree. This is only, going to help most likely one Pokemon, and that would be Gengar. And even then, Gengar is not going to be your head. You could have chose anything else, possibly, that you could have thought of, that wasn't taken. Something else would have been much more effective. So I would say this was a waste of.
Yeah, I think it really only benefits Mimikyu because you're not going to want to run Gengar unless it's Specs or Scarfed. So I think it's probably going to be run on Mimikyu, if anything. And with the final pick of the draft, we pick up the final Z Crystal in Normalium Z with the Scarlet Strikers. Actually, they drafted Normalium Z, but did not read the rules that said you have to pick type Z Crystals that work for more than one Pokemon. So obviously, this thing is meant for Snorlax. Obviously, they were trying to get Pulverized and Pancake, which is absolutely broken. So that's not coming out. But Normalium Z, it works with pretty much every single Pokemon. It's a pretty good Z Crystal to have, and it hits most things pretty nicely for damage. There's no super effectiveness against it with it, but the only thing that's really going to be resistant to it are Steel and Rock types. So it's a pretty good Z Crystal to have. A lot of these Pokemon get good normal moves that can work. So it could be used pretty well, but you're probably going to see it on Snorlax.
All I gotta say is, it seems Snorlax is very happy about that pick. Saying is that he's smiling ear to freaking ear. But yeah, this only basically benefits Snorlax, and it's not much else. Again, wider variety, ladies and gentlemen. But it seems like the Z Crystals kind of got to. Oh, looks like Z Crystal is not going to be doing very much this season.
Yeah, personally for this team, I would have picked something like Icinium Z or Waterium Z that would really benefit things like Mamoswine and Rotom Wash and Kingdra. Some other things also get some water-type moves, I believe. And there's also Ice-type coverage with Sneasel as well. It's giving Sneasel some sort of niche in this game. Maybe.
Exactly. It would give some of the other Pokemon something like Sneasel that needs a little bit of a boost. Something to, use. It gives it use. But something like this, it only benefits one Pokemon. I don't understand why they would go with it. So, again, hope they know what they're doing. Z Crystals are kind of
ineffective this season, yeah. All right, guys. Well, that is gonna wrap up this stream today. I'm gonna go back up to the main screen because I want it to look cool. So that's gonna wrap up the PDL Pre-Season Podcast. I hope you guys did enjoy. Thank you, Tui, for coming out, even though you're not here. I appreciate you. Hopefully you guys watched all the way through. If you did, thank you very much. I know it was almost a 3-hour stream. I apologize for that, but we had a lot of stuff to go over, and I really appreciate you guys coming out and watching this. Hopefully you guys are ready for PDL Season 3 coming to you very soon. We'll probably start matches coming up in December. That still has to be worked out logistically, but those will be coming to you very soon, and stay tuned for matches coming up on this channel, and as well as all the coaches' channels are in the description below, as well as my co-host right now, Damien Dragon. His channel is down there as well. Go check him out. Really good content, quality streamer, and a really good friend of mine too. So thank you, Damien, for coming out. Thank you for joining this podcast, and I appreciate everything you've done for this league.
Anytime, man. Anytime. Again, as he says, if you guys want to come over to my channel, I do a lot of gaming. I touch on a lot of Pokemon stuff as well, seeing as that I'm a former TCG card player and a competitor, so I know a good amount of that. That's why they invited me. I am proud to be a member of the council. Sorry, I said almost the council. And I'm glad to be here. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and come and check out some of our channels. We always have a lot of fun.
Well, that is it for this podcast. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, leave a like in the down below area. And while you're down there, if you're watching this on playback, go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know what team you think is going to do really well this season, who you're rooting for. Obviously, I'm rooting for myself. Damien can root for whoever he wants, but he just wants to see good matches, and I understand that. But that is where we're going to wrap it up. Leave a like if you did enjoy. Also, subscribe to this channel, as I pretty much do a lot of the PDL, as I am the commissioner of the league. But go subscribe to all the other guys, too, that are in this league, including Damien, even though he's not participating as a player, but he is a good councilman. And
Non-competitor.
It's nice to have him here. But all the links to the coaches and members of this league are in the description below. So make sure you go check all of them out. Really good quality content people. And I'm really excited to work with them on this season of PDL and other content coming out to you in the future. Damien, anything else you want to say before we close out this stream here?
Well, I did want to say, for those of you that are participating, thank you so much. We couldn't make the league without you. You guys are just as big of members of this group as we are, and we're happy that you guys are competing. I'm pretty sure we're going to be doing another league at some point. Well, we're probably going to do another season. So, and I'm hoping that this is going to be the same thing, and I'll probably be back here. And again, before anyone asks, it's not that I don't want to be part of the league. It's more along the lines of I've been done competing. I've done my competing a long time ago, and I am a very sore player. So I don't want to ruin anyone else's time by screaming and yelling. So I choose not to. So I'm glad to be part of here. Thank you for at least letting me join. So thank you, everyone, for making the league what it is.
And hopefully one time down the road, we will get a nice battle going on between us. I'm waiting for that day.
How about this? At the end of the league, I will personally battle you. I'll personally battle you.
We'll figure out something to do. So, well, we appreciate it, guys. Thanks for coming out. I hope you guys are excited. Get excited. Get ready for some more content. And we will see you guys very, very soon with some more matches. But until then, I'm ChaosMate006, here with Damien Dragon, and here also with, in spirit, More2E5, even though he's still alive, he's just asleep. Thanks for coming out. We appreciate you guys. See you guys in a couple weeks for the first matches, and hope you guys enjoyed. But until next time, we'll see you then. And as always, guys, for the glory of the dragon,
burn it up.
see ya. Thanks for coming.
Peace.